It works. It works perfectly. All right. And, yeah, we've been dancing to that intro because I've wanted to use that song for a while.
I
Hey,
love that intro. It's so good.
it's just such a nice little tune, isn't it? But
Yep.
I wish I could find like a 3 minute version of it of that. But thanks everyone for joining in. Yes, the top 10 collaborations are back finally. Sorry for the hiatus on that front, but sadly, as I said, September and October and November and that they're just a nightmare for top 100 in Essen. Hence I changed when I was doing my top 100 and all that palaver. So yeah, but this won't be like the only one that you'll see for ages. This is now like, right, get this up and ready. I've already got chairman on the board, hopefully at some point soon, and obviously the
Ooh.
invitation is out to pretty much any. So that's the whole point of hashtag support small creators. Hopefully, yep, audio and video is sounding good for everybody, which is not surprising because I hope that my microphone's good. But honestly, I'm tempted to upgrade to what Branden has because his sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
Or maybe that's just his voice. I don't know, but yeah.
Could
So
be.
this is what a fun list to come back on. I've got Brendan here from. Well, is it Brendan or Brendan or
It
Branden?
is. I have received. That's a good question. I've got Brendan. I've got Brian. I've got Braxton. I've been called all kinds. It's Branden. Branden. I don't spell it the traditional DON. So DEN. Branden.
Branden.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because your name, I have got the A and the E mixed up so many times trying to use
Yep.
your name in every bit of like thumbnails and on here or something, and it's like, hang on a minute, is it Brendan or Oh, God's sake! And I always get it the wrong way out. I've had to check 100 times.
Listen, I am 45 years old. I have dealt with this my entire life. So I have spelled my name correct on applications for things, and my name is still misspelled on official documents. And then I have to fill out a change of name. I totally get it. I'm not offended. Brendan, if you want to call me that, it's totally fine.
I'll try and get it right, but as I say, people can go
Yep.
on that. But as I say with everybody, this is hashtag support small creators. So the best thing to do is, if you don't know where Branden is from, it's from AllAboardGamer, and sadly we can't be joined by Lexi. Unfortunately, she got to work. But maybe one day we'll get the three of us on or something.
Yes,
It's
I
it's
would
not
love
like this will
to.
be the only time. But
Right.
this is where I get to shut up and you get to plug yourself.
Right. So, for people that are watching that already know who I am, I think I see some people in the chat that I recognize. Hello, thank you for joining. I'm Branden from AllAboardGamer. Got to get the train whistle in there. And yes, I am not joined by my much better half, but Lexi and I are just a board game couple. We've been married for almost 10 years in March, and we got into board games on our fifth wedding anniversary back in 2018, and we jumped in, not kidding, to Descent Legends of Descent Journeys in the Dark second edition. And that was my wife's first major board game, and I was just like a pig in slop. I was super happy. We dove right into the hobby pretty hardcore, and we've been doing this ever since. Our channel is almost 3 years old. It actually was birthed in February 2020. Lexi and I were talking about names, and we're not particularly trained people in that sense. We're not really trained gamers, but the trained steampunky type theme is what really drew us in, and I love that kind of theme, not only in games, but just in general, in art and things like that. So AllAboardGamer sort of came right out of that. And of course, the idea of everybody being able to come all aboard and be a gamer, be a board gamer, is kind of the essence of our channel. So we do the standard fare of board game content, top tens, previews, reviews. We've gotten some games in advance to be able to do some content before a game is released, which is wonderful. One of the things that we really seem to have leaned into lately is interviews. We've done a lot of interviews on our channel. We've interviewed Stan Kordonsky. We've interviewed the Micho. Many of you know who the artist is, the Micho. And we've interviewed Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald from Garfield, and many, many more. And that seems to be something that we really lean into, is doing the interviews of different folks in the industry. And we are pleased to do that. And we've been very fortunate. So, and Luke, I just wanted to say, as part of this introduction, that I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your continued support of small creators. You've been the champion, I think, the lone voice besides the small creators themselves, of course.
I get the feeling you're trying to butter me up for what's on your list. But
I am. Oh, I am. There's a lot of butter flowing, buddy. But no, to be quite honest, Lexi, especially if she were here, she'd tell you she really appreciates this. You know, this is something that, you know, we feel like we have to earn our way in, but you've really been a champion. So I do appreciate it.
Oh, they've got to hold back the tears. Nah, I appreciate it, honestly. But nah, this is good for that. And let's see, for this top 10, so yeah, controversial much, maybe? Well, I put up a poll, and I always do this for the Patreon ones. If you're at a certain tier, you get to see my list of top 10s I want to do for collaborators, and it's like, look, vote on which one you want to see next. And no word of a lie, this one got twice as many votes as any of the other choices on the list. So if people disagree with what's on it, it's the Patreon's fault, not mine. That's kind of the way it has to be. But even then, it's... you know, at the end of the day, you all like different games. We are going to say games that you don't agree with. We're going to say games that are your favorites. Deal with it. You know, there's not much else I can really say.
Yeah, deal with it. I mean, we've done this kind of content on our channel as well, and you get people, you know, it's tongue in cheek, but at the same time, you know, there is real analysis, I think, that goes on. You know, these are games that we think that are overrated for one reason or another. And the best part of these lists is that you can agree, disagree. It actually gives a lot of flavor. I actually learn things from you, from the folks that chat. I'll learn things from you, Luke. Maybe things I hadn't considered. So I kind of look at it as, yeah, I'm going to have something on the list that you might be like, what? And then, but at the same time, hopefully it'll be a nice dialogue that we can just have fun. And really, you know, ultimately it's opinion. So.
Also, that's a lot of people sort of going on about, like, yeah, your name. How hard is it to remember that it's Branden? Look, trust me, we've got Branden, Branden. It's Branden.
Yeah.
You know, we have a few variations in Britain alone, let alone what USA probably has.
Do you know what's interesting? Can I give you a little? Can I give you a Branden factoid? Because I'm full of factoids. In French, I took French in high school and I took a little bit of French in college. Don't ask me why. It's what I landed on. Everyone took Spanish. I wanted to do something different, and I took French. That's honestly why I did it. But there is no name for Branden in French. The French language does not even have a Branden. And so my name in French was Bernard, which is Bernard. Okay. So I've been called Bernard. I've been called everything. So just, it's all good.
What the heck is this? There's Brendan Roof or whatever, the actor, but I don't know if that surname is French or not. I'm probably getting completely mixed up. But nah,
maybe. That was back when I was in high school. We're talking a long time ago, so.
Fair enough. It's been said that games can be good and overrated at the same time, but that's kind of the point. I mean, they can't be overrated unless they are highly regarded by people. But
very true.
If you have dealt with anything regarding something called the internet, it is nigh on impossible to say anything bad about something highly regarded without somebody taking it a bit too seriously.
Yes.
And people in the chat are already mentioning some of my favorite games as overrated.
Yeah, I'm trying to ignore it.
You know, I mean, he's just mentioned 3 of my favorite games right there, and whatever. You know, it's not gonna phase me. He's probably just joking.
I'm trying to refrain from commenting. I don't want to give away any part of my list, so I'm not commenting. But I hear you. I see you. I'm listening. I'm watching.
There is that, and as always, my list is up there, but Branden hasn't seen my list.
Nope.
I have no idea what his list is because it's much more fun that way. So yes, while he's talking, I type it out. But that's, you know, some people do say, like, you know, why don't you find out ahead of time? But it's like, that takes out half the fun.
It does.
It's more interesting.
It takes out the natural reaction that we have on camera. Like, that to me is what it takes out, is the natural reaction to it.
Yep, which he did. And yeah, I figured he was joking on that one, but
yeah. They're all joking with you, I think. They're all getting on your case.
Is that, is Red Rising rated enough to be overrated? No, but then it's also pretty garbage anyway. But here we go. But now we got...
Yes, Luke, this is why. You and I, this is why. We're the team.
I mean, the main thing is there is a game that exists called Fantasy Realms. Enough said.
Yes.
You know, it's like, that's all it needs to be. But yeah, I like the fact there's a few other suggestions in there for what's considered underrated now, and something about a World Cup, whatever. But with this is a very specific time frame, because I have I have yelled so much about certain games in the past that I have not liked. Things like Concordia, Great Western Trail, even Gloomhaven and stuff like that. And it's like, I've kind of done that ad nauseum. So if I was to do this top 10 just generally overrated, I think I'd practically just be copying the old list. So it's like, well, where can I set a time frame? It's like, well, if I go 5 years, inclusive of this year, that's 2018 onwards. And when I saw where a lot of my games featured, there was quite a few that turned up in 2017, Gloomhaven being one of them. Right. So it was actually kind of handy that, oh, wait, so now I don't have to talk about that or that. Can't mention that one. Sweet. And so it meant that this list actually has quite a few different choices to the norm. Right. Now, I have to combine it with a sense of, right, A, is it highly rated on Board Game Geek? But also, how often do I see it being highly regarded? And this is probably going to be country specific as well, because certainly in my area I notice certain games talked about more, or I see it on Facebook a lot, but then for all I know it could just be that the game's hot on this end of the water and in your end of the water it's like barely even heard of.
That's very true. Very true. I'm actually very interested to hear your list because I haven't seen anything of it, but I considered that. I thought, well, what might be popular in England is certainly could be a little bit, but not even just in the United States, but I'm in the East Coast. And so there may be a demographic difference with different games there too. So yeah, it is very interesting how that works. Yeah.
So is your list like based on a similar thing? The rankings?
Yes. In fact, what I did was I actually looked at the history of each game that I put on the list. I wanted to see how high each one of them reached, because the current reflection of the rating, where their ranking is right now, may not be the peak that they hit. So I actually looked at the histograms and looked, and I think I got it right. Just went along the bar graph and just looked to see, okay, how high did this game get, like at the height of its hype, or at popularity? Maybe I should say it that way. And so I actually have what I wrote down here is what it has actually reached, not necessarily where it is at currently, although both of them can still be very high in that sense.
That's cool though, because I haven't done that. I didn't think to look at bar graphs and stuff, so that's going to be a different mentality. But all right, fine. You've been warned, everybody. Patreons wanted this. You know what I'm like, so you know what's going to happen. And this is going to be a good mix of games that I either consider to be just overrated or some that I generally dislike. Who knows? But like I say, you asked for it, so let's get started. All right. And of course, let's throw the guest into the boiling pot first.
I might as well. That's right. My number 10 is a 2018 release. It reached 120 rank on Board Game Geek at one point in its life. Actually, since I made this list, it has dropped 24 places. It's from Blue Cocker Publishing, which again, I'm not sure how that translates into the overseas publishers. The publishers may differ, but the same game. It's a roll and write game, and it's Welcome to. Welcome to. This is so roll and write games, as you know, as everybody knows, are extraordinarily popular, and we like roll and write games. We have cartographers. There are several of them. I've had Railroad Inc. in the past. All these different roll and writes. We have Drawn to Adventure from Final Frontier Games. We do like them, Lexi and I. However, the first time we played Welcome to was actually back in 2019 at Origins in America. And we were taught the game incorrectly. And so I didn't like the game flat out there. And so I thought to myself, well, maybe it was the teach. And so we didn't really put it on any lists as far as that's concerned. I don't want to judge a book by its first cover, especially when I think the teach was wrong. However,
I mean, if the teacher's wrong, that certainly makes sense. But the box covers have to make an effort to do exactly that. Judge it by its cover.
Yeah, that's
carry on.
That's all right. So we just played this recently, though. And we were actually taught this. We were retaught the game by Allie at the Family Meeple, who's in our Discord and all of that. But anyway, she taught Lexi and I the game at Dice Tower Retreat because I think that we wanted to give it another shot, especially with Welcome to the Moon being out and all of that. And I tell you what, it was a much better experience. Okay. A much better experience. However, this game, getting that close to the top 100 to me just doesn't, I don't get it. It doesn't, I mean, it does the same thing as every other roll and write, at least from what I understand. I haven't played with all the expansions. I haven't played Welcome to the Moon. I haven't done that whole story mode. I know I haven't experienced everything that Welcome to has to offer, but this game is gangbusters. I mean, people really like this game. And basically, you're flipping cards, picking one, and then just drawing your houses and trying to get your increasing numbers and getting pools and getting construction zones and trying not to mess up as you do in every other roll and write. And I don't know if it's the genre. Roll and write games, I do like some of them, but I'm very picky about them because they can get very samey. And I think that's part of it. I don't like the look of it as much either. I think the paper that you have is very cluttered because of the background art. And if you're using anything lighter than like a Sharpie, you're gonna have a hard time seeing the board. And it just, I don't know. It didn't land. It just didn't land for me. And when I saw how popular it was, I just thought, I don't get it. I just don't get it. So number 10 is Welcome to. What do you think?
Nah, I kind of half agree with that. I mean, roll and writes, I'm starting to get a little bit burnt out on some of them. Although Twilight Inscriptions on the shelf, that was at least something a little different, or maybe something a bit more meaty than the average fare. But this one, I kind of half agree with this one. It's died a bit lately. Like, I have not seen anyone talk about it for a while, but there was a phase a couple of years ago where a lot of people were playing this, and one of our HandyCon, it was a convention that used to be on a couple of years ago, they made a big deal one year about having a 60-player game of this, like, playing, and it's like, well, who cares? It's multiplayer solitaire. It's literally a solitaire game. What the other 59 people do makes no difference to me.
Right.
So what's the big deal about having 60 of them there? But yeah, I've played it, and it just fits into that category of another roll and write.
Right. That's it. I don't hate the game. I would play it again in a heartbeat. It's not a problem. And again, by the way, having a good teach is half the battle. I will say that I do like the game. I do like the game much better now than I did. But I saw the comment that you put up there. It was boring as dry toast. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far. That's a great comment, but I don't know if I thought it was as boring as dry toast, but it felt like every other roll and write. I think you said it perfectly there. Yeah.
Okay, look. All right, for my 10. My 10, you have got one of my favorite games that I play, which is downstairs, is known with me as a slightly infamous game because one of the components in it I have a habit of playing with a lot every time I talk about it on screen. Thankfully, it's downstairs on the shelf, so I can't get it out now. So sorry, no juggling of lovely Seasons dice for you today, chaps. But a game came out that decided it was going to try and invade on Seasons' pitch called Res Arcana. And this one, as much as the game is not terrible, it's also kind of not close to the sort of boring as dry toast, but it's not exactly that fun either. It does a similar thing. Here's your small collection of cards, decide what you want to do with them at the start of the game, like which ones you want, and then convert X into Y so many times and get points. I mean, it is dry as a bone, because any of this fantasy element, which the artwork is nice, I'll give it credit, it does look pretty, but not as pretty as Seasons. But this one, I've played it, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just converting green into points, and then I'll just spam this card a lot. And if you start off with a bad set of 8 cards or whatever it is you've got, you're kind of done. You know, you don't have a huge amount of ways to sort of claw it back.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that Seasons for me is, you know, the theme is better in it, even though, yeah, you can argue there's only so much of it there. But you've got that dice aspect, you've got the flexible timer of the game, you've got the fact that the cards unlock as the game goes on. The draft at the start is, I think, more meaningful, especially when you've got expansions and you've got more funky abilities. This one, which has been said, you know, is fun to play on, say, like, you know, Board Game Arena. You know, it can be a nice quickie game, and it is short. It's shorter than Seasons. Sort of. You know, Seasons can be done. It can be done quite quick, but I don't know. I've played it and I think it's okay, but it's ranked 120 something, and I don't get why this one gets the love now rather than Seasons.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played Seasons. I got to be honest. I've seen it. I've wanted to play it. I like the cover, if that makes, you know, if that matters, which it does. But we do own Res Arcana. what I like about Reservoir, and again, I think I'm with you on my number 10. I think I half agree with you. I do not like if you have a bad draft, because you only get so many cards for the entire game. And when you don't have that synergy, the engine building in it can be very just yikes. And I have definitely experienced that. So that's where I agree with you 100%. But when it does work out, and I also like how each round, I think it's a round, you get an additional one of those tiles. You're always swapping those tiles in and out, and getting the different towers and stuff. And I like engine building games where you plug stuff in to get other stuff. I like Furnace, for example, which I know is an auction bidding game, but it still has that engine building concept. But I do see where you're coming from, but I half agree with you because we do own it, we do like it, we do play it. We also have the additional 2 expansions, which does add a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit more selection of cards, things like that. But yeah, I get that. Yeah, 100. I think it was in the list because I passed it when I was scanning.
I can't believe I forgot Furnace. I should have remembered that one.
Let's go back. Let's go back for honorable mentions. Ready?
Furnace number 11. There we go. But we'll get that on later on. But
see, I love Furnace. I love Furnace.
I've got some mates who love it as well, and I just thought it was meh. But the theme does not help. But yeah, with this one, I mean, it was okay, but it's just like, right, this is trying to attack seasons, and there's nothing about it apart from the fact that it's shorter that makes it more interesting for me to play personally than seasons. I mean, Miguel, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I had the brilliant one because I used to play Magic. 10 IC manipulator of Magic cards, which is like a basic tap and untap frenzy, and it's just basically tapping and untapping cards for X points. And in seasons your cards do lots of funky stuff, but here it's just a generic tap this, spend X. I don't know. It's too generic for me. It doesn't zap me in. I mean, both of them are fantastical Magic themes. Sure. But this one feels less so than seasons. It's kind of odd. But as I say, this one, I mean, it's down at 10. I can see myself still playing it because it is nice and quick and simple. So it's not like stupidly high. But I knew this was going to be popular with a lot of people. Hence, a lot of people are having to go at me for it. But as I said, you were warned. All right, on to 9s.
All right, number 9. This one is going to ring true with you, Luke, because you recently did a video on the expansion for this game. It is a 2019 release. It has reached, at least as far as my most current research, 223rd on Board Game Geek. It's a fantasy flight game. It is Star Wars themed, and it is Outer Rim.
Get him.
I do not like Outer Rim. I found it incredibly boring. I found it incredibly one note. I found the movement incredibly restricting. I didn't like the solo mode. I didn't like the lack of choices. And in fact, part of the reason I thought of this choice was because of your review of the expansion. From what I heard on your expansion review, it probably fixes everything that I have a problem with in the base game. And so
you've not played the base.
I have not played the expansion, right? And so there's that caveat. I haven't played with the expansion. I would be willing to. I didn't hate the game, but I just, as I was playing it, and Lexi can tell you, I've been playing more solo games lately just to kind of get more of a perspective on certain games, kind of, get into the game without any other human element in it, and really just crunching into the game. And Star Wars Outer Rim just kind of fell flat for me. And it just seems like with every Fantasy Flight game that comes out and it's Star Wars themed, there's just so much hype around it. I know Sam Healy really liked this game, talked a lot about it from the Dice Tower. It has received a lot of love. And part of the reason I bought it was because of that commentary around the game. And then when I played it, I just went, ew. Because half the time I felt like I was playing Go Fish. Like I'd go flying to a spot and the tokens are all face down. So I'd look and then, it's not the person that I need. So I'd put it back down. It was like, it felt like too much work. I wanted to really zip around and get myself into conflicts and really be able to do contracts. And when I'm on one side of the board and then I pull a contract and it's all the way over on the other side of the board, I just wanted to throw the game. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Some of those bits, bits I can see the expansion fixing, particularly what you mentioned about the other side of the board.
Yeah.
Because one of the bits does allow you to hyperspace from one end to the other via the other from one side. So it's like, mobility is a lot better.
Right.
I can get people. Not, I mean, people say like I'm trying to resist not turning into the Hulk or something because I love this game. It's like I can see why it's not for everyone. I still have a problem with its length. It still is quite a long game, and certainly Fantasy Flight do everything Star Wars now, so it is kind of like seriously, change the record. But I still love this one. It still gives me that sandbox theme. If you mentioned lack of choices, I've got all the choices in the world. I'm deciding like, all right, do I go grab this bounty? Do I go grab this upgrade? Shall I go fly to this end? Shall I just have an encounter? Am I going to go kill a patrol? Shall I go kill my mate? When am I going to get my Millennium Falcon? I
do get that. Some of the decks I just felt there was a lot of sameness. Maybe it's that. It's not really. You're right. There are several decks in the game. Like there's a lot of cards in the middle of the table in that board, and there are a lot of cool things that you are dealing with. I do like the upgrades. I do like that kind of stuff. It just all started to kind of feel the same, I guess, is what it was. And like you said, with the length of the game, it just felt like I was doing the same thing all the time. There was really no arc, and I like game arc.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it ramped up to some big epic conclusion. That's all.
The expansion would certainly, I don't think it's certainly going to convert you, but it's going to improve things because you do have more cards. And the lack of cards in each deck is always a problem with Fantasy Flight. There is now more. There could still be more, but there is more. The mobility is increased because you can basically hyperspace from one end of that arc to the other now by another encounter.
That's
which
huge,
is good.
right there. Yeah.
The arc is sort of done. They've got these ambition sheets where you have a slightly different setup to other people, but basically instead of getting, I think, 10 fame points or whatever, you now only have to get 8, but you have to fulfill these little mini objectives as you go through that are your own personal ones.
Oh, okay.
And you finish by having the 8 fame and then doing the final objective on it. So for example, if I took Hera, the pilot from Rebels, and the ambition was like Rebellion Master, or like Friend of the Rebellion or something. So a lot of my stuff involved killing Imperial patrols, going to certain planets for an encounter or two. But then the final thing I had to do was attack a level 4 Star Destroyer and win the battle for there. And so throughout the game, you go, right, I need to make myself a decent ship, get some weapons, bits of that. So it creates a little bit of an arc.
Yeah.
Is it enough for what you're describing? Maybe not. I mean, it's not going to be the epic conclusion, but at least you feel like you have... If you thought that it was a bit too sandboxy, these ambition sheets do a good job of giving you a path.
Yeah. No, I like the sound of that, actually. And I do remember that from your review. And I did think, and you know what, even a little bit of an arc, like fighting a level 4 Star Destroyer, that still gives you that epic feeling, as a scum bounty hunter, right? That I can at least finish on a high note and take down something like that. I think I would like it, and I would love to try it again. So again, I know that there's going to be people that are disagreeing with me big time, but I would still sit down and play this with you, Luke, or anyone at a con and play with the expansion and see if I felt any differently about it. Yeah,
there is a reason to it. Like I say, I'm not saying it will probably convert you, but it would probably sort of like whatever your rating is now. I reckon I could bring it up a point or two from the expansion. But then, as I say, the game should be good for people before then. I mean, I do consider it pretty much an essential expansion, but it's not like I didn't enjoy the game beforehand. It just brought it up a lot higher as a result. But I do wish it was a bit shorter. I mean, people have mentioned Firefly the game. I love Firefly, but man, that game goes on longer. That game is just endless.
Yes, that game is
way more dice rolling, which is saying something.
Right. Actually, the not to get off subject, but you brought up Firefly. I actually really like the series Firefly. I had Firefly Adventures from Gale Force 9, and it had 4 different jobs in the box, and it was more of a miniatures game. That one I liked a lot more. It was way shorter, and it was more of a tactical miniatures, and there's patrols and stuff. So you're not doing the same thing as in Firefly the game with the contracts and the bounties and all that other stuff, but the flavor was there. And so when people say Firefly the game, it's like, oh, try Firefly Adventures. It's actually pretty good. It's hard to find, but it's pretty good. But anyway.
That I've not tried. Okay, so my number 9, again, this goes back to the, I suppose a lot of the times I class something as overrated will be if a game comes out and people mention this is the next X. So I've mentioned a few times where something comes out and it's like the Splendor killer, and then
Oh,
I always seem to end up preferring Splendor personally, but as I say, but this one's got nothing to do with that game. This one came out and decided, oh right, we're taking on Seven Wonders. We're going to do a gateway-ish level drafting game of cards with a different theme. We're going to make it look pretty. It's still, I think, ranked about 110 or something ridiculous. It's still in like the early hundreds. And again, it's not that I hate the game. I've just played it and find this very meh. It's not a wonderful world. It's a meh world. It's just kind of meh. It's that boring thing of I just don't get anything that great from this. Is it simple to play? Yes. Is it short? Not really. I've seen this game drag on quite a bit when you got a lot of players there. But it just, all you're doing is just getting these generic, at least with Seven Wonders, you have a cool Civ feeling. You know, so I'm playing this Civ, I get to attack other people. The cards are distinguished, like blue means this, green means that. But all this is just generic color cards with no real thematic integration. Grab a few cubes, discard for resources. I mean, this whole concept of, right, okay, am I missing the cubes I need? Right, I can get rid of this card and it will generate the cube I need for this. It's too freeform. I never find that I can't get what I want. You know, I decide, right, I've got 7 cards in my hand. I really want to play these 3. I will play these 3. You know, different from Seven Wonders where even just being short a couple of coins is like, oh, God, where am I going to get that from? Yeah. This just is, again, just very meh. I mean, I look at this and I go, oh, this artwork's beautiful. What does it all mean? Why does it even all tie together? I don't know. It's like, do I build the triangle? Do I build King Solomon's Mines? I don't know, because I'm literally just doing it for an icon more than anything else. You know, like I say, it looks pretty. It's gorgeous. I'm not going to deny that. It's a pretty world. We'll give it that.
Yeah.
But I just find it meh. But everybody, I know a few people locally that really liked it, and they brought out the 2-player version, and everyone went mad when that got on. I can't remember if it was Kickstarter or, you know, yeah, It's a Wonderful Kingdom or something, which some people say is better. Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I don't find this to be that interesting.
Right. It's one of those games, too, where I feel like I have to half agree with you because we reviewed this one. We really like this one. However, we did just recently, we are culling it from our collection because it's one of those games where I think once you look under the hood, and it is a big deck of cards. I mean, it's a big deck of cards, but there's a lot of repeats. And like you said, the thematic connection is just not there. It is a pure engine builder. I mean, that's what you're doing is building your city. And honestly, I think that It's a Wonderful World is actually a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. It seems like it's one of these dystopian things that things really aren't that great.
Yeah.
And you're just, you know, you're just constructing. But it's one of those things where it's 4 drafts. And yeah, it can, you're right. It can go a little long, especially if folks are APing a little bit. You know, the analysis paralysis, in case someone's watching that doesn't know what AP means. The analysis paralysis can definitely be there because you could get your second draft and everything you just did in the first draft to kind of set yourself up can be wiped out based on the card draws. So yeah, it can really kind of play with your brain a little bit. So I totally agree with you on that one. I totally agree that it's a boring cube pusher in that sense. I mean, it's more of a cube pusher than Through the Ages. In that sense.
Very different games, but yeah.
Very different games, but you know, they call Through the Ages a big cube pusher, and that's, you know, all you're doing is moving cubes up and down on your board. That's exactly what you're doing with It's a Wonderful World. But yet there was something satisfying that Lexi and I found. Well, I can't speak for her. I'll speak for myself. There was something that I found very satisfying with being like, ooh, I'll get rid of these cards out of the draft, or I'm only taking these cards because I want those color cubes to be able to build the stuff that I want, put them in my city, and then get this cool big point generation engine in it. Have you found the game when you did play it? Did you find it incredibly swingy? In other words, just some people would just run away with it and just crush everybody else.
If you get the right combination of cards, then you are just going to dominate the other people. And you could argue that about a lot of games, but this one, I never felt like because the thing is, you know, Seven Wonders, if I look to my neighbor, yes, I've got to draft a card that's good for me, but if I don't see anything that's that great for me, or if I've got a couple of options, I'll look to my neighbor and go, well, yeah, this is one less point than that one, but I know the opponent can play this one because it clearly says free stone. I know he doesn't have free stone unless he gives me money. I can make choices like that. With It's a Wonderful World, I could look at my neighbor, and because you can discard a card for a cube, I got no idea what's in his hand.
Right.
So I could literally just be like, well, I don't know if he can play it or not. Fine, just have it and we'll see what happens. And then I might take it and go, well, okay, you can't have this card. I'm sure you can't play that one. Oh, wait, yeah, you can just get rid of a couple of cards and he's played it anyway. So there's no way to hate draft, you know, or do anything.
I get that. Yeah, the closed drafting nature of it. It's interesting that you compared it to Seven Wonders because I've never heard anyone compare it to Seven Wonders specifically on our end of the pond, mind you. But that is interesting because I think the closed draft versus the open draft is the difference in that game. That's what I think hurts It's a Wonderful World, given your context, is the fact that it's a closed draft. And not only that, it almost seems like you're hate drafting yourself because you could get rid of a card or pass a card along, and then the next card comes around. And again, like you said, it could be, you could say that about a lot of games, but in this game, everything hinges on that draft. And yeah, I agree with you on that one. I do.
Yes, I'm on that. But I say not a lot of people have gone back on that one, which is interesting. But I was kind of expecting more pushback. But maybe it's more of a local thing. Perhaps I just know a lot of people in my immediate area that use it. But let's say when It's a Wonderful Kingdom came out, there was a lot of hype for it. So I was certainly noticing it. And the fact that it's just ranked so highly, and it's like, dude, I got Seven Wonders complete down there. I will pull that out in a heartbeat before this one is. Okay, nope, right, 8s.
All right, my number 8, 2019 release again, and this one reached 137th, and it's from Next Move Games, and it's the Azul Summer Pavilion. And the reason why this one's on here and not some of the other ones is we owned this one after buying the original Azul and liking it. It's good, certainly not. If this would have been unrestricted, Azul could have been on the list because I mean, Azul is good, but I don't think it's like this big, this big thing that folks made it. So right there, I'm going to get the hate probably for just saying that about Azul. But Azul Summer Pavilion, and look, all the Azuls are ranked very high. And but Summer Pavilion, just for Lexi and I, ooh, man, did it fall flat. Yikes. It took something. Now, here's one thing that Azul had going for it. It was very simple. It was simple to play. The rule set was simple. The scoring was simple. The way that the tiles broke and fell at the bottom part of your player board was very simple. And it didn't have all this bloat. And for some reason, Summer Pavilion just felt like they were just, I understand. I know they're trying to innovate. I know they're trying to do new things with Azul to keep the cash coming. I totally get it. But see right there, that's the problem that I have, where it's almost like they're just sort of reinventing the wheel just because it has the Azul name. Now there's Stained Glass of Sintra. Now there's Queen's Garden. And now there's this chocolate one. Like, what on earth does Azul have?
Oh, God, that chocolate.
And I love chocolate, but it's like, it just seems like they're really pummeling this theme. And Summer Pavilion because it's ranked so high. I totally disagree with it. I think it's way overrated. If nothing else, the original Azul, I would give the original Azul a pass to just stop with all these other ones. I just don't think Summer Pavilion has that kind of pedigree. It just doesn't have it. It's too complicated. It's too weird how that center sunburst dial works and everything. And it's not because I didn't understand it. It just did not land at all.
Now, I must admit, I enjoy each Azul with the exception of Sintra. I was not a fan of that one, but a lot of the comments are sharing what I think of this. And yeah, why didn't you just stick with the basic Azul? I've even grown to the point where I got bored of that and sold it on. I've got Reef still. I prefer Reef to Azul, but yeah, the expansions were just unnecessary. This was milking the cash cow. It's like, right, we're plan B. We don't have any extra ideas, so we're just going to milk this one because Azul did loads. That's what a lot of publishers do. If something's that good, I mean, Z-Man Pandemic, need we say more? But It's yeah, Sintra I did not like at all. That one just like, all right, you thought Azul was swingy at times? Well, try Sintra. This
Yeah.
one I liked more, but then as you say, that middle bit is bloat and
Yep.
Garden whatever is the same sort of deal. It's just Azul works for me as a base game because you've got the beginner and you've got the advanced board setups, but
Yeah.
then it's still a nice simple intro game. I don't like it enough to keep it on my shelf, but if somebody at a club wants to play it, I'll happily play it. You know,
Sure.
it's going to be very different with 2 players. I'd rather play it with 2 than 4,
Right.
but it, you know, it does what it says. All these new ones, it's like, well, if I've got the original, why would I buy these? You know, are you
Right.
expecting me
Why?
to sort of grab
Yes.
one and go, this is my chosen one, this is the chosen Azul, and therefore the rest are. But
Yep.
because if you are you one of these people who has all 4 or 5 of them by now and plays all 4 or 5 of them? In which case, you are a mega fan of this game.
Yeah.
But
Which
I
is
just,
fine, by the way, which is fine. If you're a mega
mm,
fan, and that's the thing, like I would advise people, if you're not a mega fan, I would advise people to play these before you just buy them.
mm,
Because here's what I will say. You want to know what an alternative is that's very similar, that's in that same vein, that even has pieces shaped pretty much like Summer Pavilion that we
mm.
got rid of, but I would still rather play than Summer Pavilion is Vivid Memories. I would much rather
Okay.
play Vivid Memories because even though there's not a huge, strong theme in it, you know, you're picking these memory tiles, basically they're objectives, and you're able
Mm.
to slot them into your memory board and trying to create memory threads with your tiles. Now, that to me was way more, that was complexity that made sense. And it still wasn't
Yeah.
that complex. I really did like that. So it's not that I don't like tile laying games. And it's not that I'm hating on Azul. It's just, you said it. The cash cow was first thing I mentioned. It just seems like
Mm.
that's what they're doing, is riding this wave, because there really wasn't much innovation. It was just different shaped tiles. You're still
Yeah.
trying to create these same patterns, and they added a lot of bloat into it, which defeated the purpose for me. I would have rather have played it and then
Mm.
bought it. Instead, we bought it before we played it, and we paid the price. So
With this one, the reason why I've migrated over to Syndra is because of a
yeah.
comment that was on here saying that there is more control with this one.
Mm,
That is true in one respect, but here's my counter argument. Yes, there is more control with regards to the little worker or whatever it is that you have going across your window or whatever it is, saying, right, I'm gonna choose this column, but then if it resets back, that's my whole turn. That's the
mm,
control, yes. The problem is in normal Azul, the swinginess of that game can be just what tiles come out
yeah.
in those blocks. If
Yep.
the wrong color patterns come out for you based on what you've got, you're going to be on the back foot. This multiplies that factor though, because not only have you got to put up with those rings, you've also got to put up with what orientation your windows are at. But you
Mhm.
can't do anything about what your windows are at. You started with a random layout at the beginning of the game. If a bunch of them want yellows and none of the yellows come out, well, what can you do about it? There's no, at least with normal Azul, you can just put them on a different row and just
Yeah.
say that row's going to be this.
Yep.
But you can't do that with this. If I've got no yellows and all my windows want yellows, well, then what am I supposed to do? Just plonk them somewhere? It's so it's you've got less control even on that. But so I
Yeah.
get where some of that said, but yeah, I really did not like the way Sintra worked. I've not tried Garden Pavilion. Pavilion was like I say, just get the basic Azul or get Reef. Reef's
Yeah,
I think more
and
fun.
everybody's been
Period.
telling me to try Reef, and I think we would really like Reef. And I like Emerson
Hmm.
Masucci and his designs anyway, but we haven't tried it yet. But if we did try and like Reef, it probably would. We still have base Azul, but we haven't
Yeah.
played it for a little while. I think Reef could replace it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Right. This one, I've reviewed this one this year, and I do think it's overrated. I mean, I gave it a 7. It's not like I thought it was horrendously bad. It's ranked 339, so it's a bit lower ranking than some of the other ones. But, oh my god, do I hear people talk about this a lot on social media and Facebook. There's always pictures of this. I've seen it at several local conventions. People will say, oh, Luke, it's not that long, the game. Yes, it is. Wonderland's War is too long. It's way too long. This game, as much as it has some fun elements, and it looks beautiful, that is if you want to spend, you know, $150 plus or whatever it is to get those cool chips. This game is basically Quaxer Quedlinburg with extra steps. It's not like the best thing since sliced bread. And if I play this with 4 or 5 players, I'm pulling my hair out by the time we get to the 2.5 hour mark, and we're still playing. I've seen 5-player games of this go to 3 hours that I've not been involved in. It's like, this is a push your luck bag building game. Why is this? Why do people forgive the fact that it's way longer than Quacks? Don't get it. Is it beautiful? Yes, but I mean, even the retail version of this is nice. You don't have to get those deluxe miniatures or the coin capsules. They are a lot of money. I like these character abilities. I like the fact you can grab the, whatever they call it, the Wonderlandians or something. These people. It's quite, it's got a good theme, but it's push your luck bag building. A lot of your game is dictated by luck of the draw, which is fine in Quacks, because Quacks is done and dusted in 60-75 minutes. This is 2 hours plus, unless you're playing it with 2 players. And why would I want to play this with 2 players? It's area control, it's fighting, you want more people. So you've got to offset how long it takes versus having a bit more chaos on the battlefield. But 2.5 hours for push your luck? No. I just, it sounds like I probably, to be fair, I gave it a 7. It probably should be a 6 at this point, but it's just, it certainly, I think, should have gone down a rating. But yeah, a lot of people were going like, oh no, it's not that long. It's like, I don't know what void you're in, but this game was long.
Well, let me strenuously disagree with you. Now,
it had to happen at some point.
I almost got up from the table. No, I'm kidding. I love this game. You're not wrong. It is long. But as anyone on my Discord will know, Lexi and I, well, I always say Lexi and I, it's just habit. You have to understand. We have very similar taste in games, but I like heavier, longer area control, these kinds of games. And so when I sit down to play a game like this, I already know what I'm in for. I buckle up and I am fine. And the way that I play games, when I'm playing a game, I am zoned in. A bomb could go off outside of the house and I wouldn't hear it because I get so immersed in what's going on. I love the theme. I love the rondelle in the middle with the tea party and trying to struggle with that decision. I love the variable player powers. I really love the area control. And here's what I like about the area control. And this is where the bag building, I do get it. Totally get it. It's push your luck. But managing your shards so you don't get those extra bad chips in there, the madness chips. But when you pull out a madness chip, nothing bad. I mean, something bad happens. You have to remove one of your figures from one of those areas that you're battling in. And so your presence in those areas are basically your health meter. The only time you bust is if you destroy all of the characters in there. And everybody's watching the battle track move. People are watching folks bow out. Even the people that are not involved in a fight in that area are betting on who's going to win, which is fantastic. So everybody's invested. Everybody's watching. I have seen more people standing up, people cheering, people going, oh my gosh, people going, oh, I can't believe it. I personally, and like I said, maybe it's just, I don't know, it could be a difference across the pond. I don't know. This game has been an absolute delight and a joy every time. I honestly couldn't even tell you how long it's taken us to play it. I don't think I've played it at 5. I got to be frank. I think I played it at 3 with 2 other very seasoned gamers, and it did not take very long. It certainly didn't take 2.5 hours. I know it didn't. But I'm not going to sit here and insult you, Luke, and say it's not that long. It is long.
You can do that if you want.
Be a long game. If you sit down with 5 people and all 5 of them have played it and know what they're doing, would it take that long? Maybe, maybe not. It could. It absolutely could. But if you sit down with people and you're teaching them, oh boy, buckle up. It's going to be lengthy. So I totally get you there. But as far as the rest of it, I love Wonderland's War. And that's from this year, correct? That's a release of 2022.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this year.
I think it's, well, like when it came out on Kickstarter, because I mean, I've seen some occasions of that stand-up moments that you're describing. So it's not like, so you're not the only person that I've seen have those moments.
Yeah.
They've just never happened in any game I've played, because I get the betting aspect and I go, all right, I'll bet on you to win. Half the time it's kind of one-sided. You sort of know where it's going. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's like I say, it is that length. I'm very conscious of how long this game's going, and if I do end up doing badly, I don't necessarily feel like I made the wrong choices. I feel like I would have just done better if I'd drawn that rook out of the bag rather than the negative, whatever they call it, the madness pick or something like that. And
yeah. But I love
with
the idea of
those,
being able to forge chips. I like the idea that when you are looking at your board at the end with all the chips you've pulled out of your bag and you have those yellow forged chips, that you can then try to recycle some of those chips, you know? So it does have that element where you're not just building your bag, it's got the deck building thing where you're actually trying to thin your pool of chips out. So I do get that. And I do understand that it can take long because people then can wrestle with those decisions. I agree with you on that front, certainly.
yeah.
But I do like how you can forge those chips. And now that's what you're using to upgrade your player board. And I love upgrades. I'm a big upgrade fan. Any game that has upgrades in it, I tend to like.
It works. And a lot of the stuff in this I like.
Yeah.
If it was just, if the length was halved, I probably would be on your side going, this is amazing. But when it's going past Quack's length, it needed to be just slightly longer than Quack's, not more than twice as long as Quack's. And that's where it loses me, because I can go, oh yeah, I like upgrading my bag and I like doing this, but man, we've been repeating it's only a 3-round game and I feel like we've been on rinse repeat for the last 2 and a bit hours. It's like, when does this end? And you've still got like another round to go. It's like with 4 other players, it's like, we're going to be here a while, aren't we? That's the thing. It's just the length. But as I say, it's popular with a lot of people.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. But I'm just the kind of gamer which when we review games, I don't even take length into it. I really don't, because at the same time, if a game is too short, do I then review a game and bust it because it's too short for me or too light for me? Complexity matters. Game length does matter, but game length can be very subjective. You and I both know that the game length advertised on the boxes of 98% of our games are lies. We already know that.
Complete lies.
Right. So I already enter into this hobby understanding that I am going to be dealing with this game a lot more than what it says on that box. Especially if it's the first teach. And I'm not saying you're wrong for busting it for time. That's how you process. You have a lot going on. You can play 2 games in the time, or 3 games or 4 games in the time that it takes to play 1 game of Wonderland's War. And for some people that really does matter. Yeah.
I've never found a game to be too bad because I've never found a game to be too short, because even if it's a light filler, I go, just one you can get done quick. You can get like a Cockroach Broker, a little filler game, love letters, like 5 minutes or something. If it's short, then you just play it again and you're glad that you can get multiple games of it. So I can't think of any game I've had where I'm like, oh, it's too short. Maybe you could get a Euro where you think, oh, maybe they're anticlimactic, maybe.
Right, maybe one more round. Yeah.
But most of the time it's length. I did 11 recently, that review, and it's again 6 rounds of the game. Should be 4. It frequently will go too long, but as I say, it's popular and that's the way. So on to 7. This is going to be a long stream. I warn everybody. But
no, I'm sorry. I babble. You and I are talkers, man, and I love that.
But we're talkers and they love it. So I'm just warning them.
Good. I'm glad. As long as they love it. Hop, put Hop's comment up there. I love that. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Hop. I love that. Hop is loving what I'm putting down. That's great. All right. My number 7 is from Cosmos. And here's what I want to do when I lead into this one. I detest games where I have to mind meld with you. Okay.
I love those.
I hate games where see, that's what's so funny. Like I want my game to be controlled by me. Okay. This is why I don't like
Spoken like a true Eurogamer.
I am a Eurogamer, and in that sense. And so I don't like games where I feel like I have to try to read the mind. Now, if I'm playing someone, it's a strategic game, that's different. You need to get into their mind. You have to kind of anticipate what they're doing. I understand that's in 99% of games, most likely. But I don't like The Crew, Quest for Planet 9. I don't. It's a 2019 release. It reached number 38 of all time. I cannot believe it. Not only has it broken the top 100, it has broken the top 50. It's not there now. I don't know what it's rated right now, but from looking at its chart, it reached
50 and
38.
44 is currently.
Oh my goodness gracious. I do not understand it. I played it one time and I literally wanted to just die. I hated it. I don't like games where I have to. I played Hanabi recently, and it was so challenging because some people want to cheat, some people want to kind of give their nonverbal clues because you're cooperating. Same thing with this. And the other thing, Luke, I don't like trick taking games. I've tried so hard to like trick taking games. We have Skull King from Grandpa Beck's games, and I will muddle my way through it. But when you're asking me to predict how many tricks I'm going to win, my brain just scatters. I have no logical, I don't know how to piece that together because I'm not a betting man either. So I don't gamble. And so I think part of that is because I don't know how to predict so many unknown variables is I guess is the best way to think of it. Maybe I'm just crazy. But when it comes to trying to mind meld with other gamers, especially gamers I don't know, if I'm sitting around a table and someone sits down that I don't know with the crew, that's the last thing I want to play with you. I don't like it. And so I know I'm going to get some hate because I think it's follow up.
Just a bit.
The deep sea missions is just as it's in the top 100 too, isn't it?
Deep sea missions? And I am definitely the spokesperson that if you have two versions that are basically the same game, merge the two together. Yes. Regardless of whether I love the game or not, that needs to stop.
Yeah. So I think the combination between the trick taking problems that I have, and then on top of it, the idea of trying to read. I don't understand a cooperative game that functions when you can't cooperate, when you can't talk.
When you said Skull, did you mean Skull King?
I meant Skull King. Yes.
Right. All right. Somebody's mentioned it. It's like, all right. I recognize that one. I still not played it, but at least I know of that one.
Yeah, it's a pirate game, and I played it actually with Lexi and my son, and he enjoyed it a little bit. We were having some fun because it's a short game. I would definitely play it again, but it's one of those things where it's very, very swingy because if you say I'm going to win this many tricks and then you don't, then you get penalized brutally. So yeah, I just don't perform well. Maybe that's just not my headspace. It just isn't. And I think that's part of it. And when I saw that this got to 38, I thought to myself, I get it. I think I get it, but for me, no way.
You saw my ratings there. The original was 8. This one's 9. I love this game.
Yeah,
Granted, I must admit, I have noticed I'm a bit of a trick-taking fan lately. But even without that, I do like a lot of trick-taking games. But it's this one, I must admit, I warmed up to it. It wasn't an instant like wow, but I do like those games getting into the neighbors' heads. Why am I think I'm echoing out of your speaker at a moment, but oh man, yeah, I enjoy the co-op nature of this. I like being able to, not necessarily predict like, all right, you're gonna work this trick. You've played that card. You must think that I've got that. Well, if that's the case, then that means he hasn't got that, so I can play this, right? Go and you can start making those educated guesses. But I mean, I hate the mind. The mind I can't stand.
That's another one I can't stand.
But that one is just random, like completely random.
That's true.
This one, at least I have something to go on. And yeah, you might end up with a game that you can't physically win because of a couple of moves. Games are like 5 minutes, rinse, repeat. It's nice and great. If this was like 30 minutes a game, it probably would be a bit more problematic.
Right.
But, look, as soon as you said that, I was like, no.
Yeah. I told you that my number, I didn't expect that kind of pushback, but you know what? With it being up to 38, I know I'm stepping on some toes with that one.
Oh, don't trust me. We're going to get higher than that.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, we're only on number 7.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of this. Let's see here. As long as you like Empires of the Void 2, it's fine. See, Sean, you and I get it. I do like Empires of the Void 2. I have it in my collection. I've got an insert for it. It's fantastic. Yeah. So go ahead. Anyway.
Yeah, both of us have got no problems with that one. But yeah, I couldn't even keep up with the comments. Like they flooded like crazy when this one got mentioned. Whether it's good or bad, it got flooded.
Well, what do they say? Any press?
Mostly on my side. Mostly on my side, but there are a couple I have seen who didn't like it either.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more skewed towards the likes, I think. But there is,
Certainly. Yeah.
there's one or
And
two.
I know I'm in
Here
the
we go.
minority.
Yeah,
I know I'm
Sophie.
in the minority. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh
the
yes,
first
the
game
Crew
I
was the first
absolutely
game where I
disagreed.
absolutely disagreed with Luke. I learned with this game that I apparently hate trick-taking games. Exactly, Sophie. That's exactly how I felt. I just felt like this isn't my style of game. And so I do not begrudge that people like this game, but 38 of in the world? Really? Better than any trick-taking game? We're talking, this game is right next to the likes of some really big hitters in the top 100. The Crew?
I mean, there's not many trick-taking games I can prefer to it. I mean, there's some like Fox in the Forest and a couple of other ones where I go, oh yeah, these are really solid trick takers. But yeah, I mean, I do love bringing the Crew out. But as I say, I can tell it's definitely not for everybody. It's like, you don't like trick taking or the co-op or the hidden communication thing, then well, yeah, the game's going to absolutely fall flat for you like crazy. So that's normal. Righty, my 7. I'm actually laughing quite a lot, actually, because I literally just skimmed down to the end of the comments. I caught one particular comment here from somebody that you might know quite well. Sam, with that.
Hi, Sam.
I am literally not typing on the keyboard here. You've literally just turned up when it's my number 7. Now I feel really bad.
I'm out. Get out. Get out.
Oh,
get out.
The thing is,
this is terrible. This is terrible.
I don't dislike Paladin. I actually gave it a decent rating when I first played it. This is
Lexi's number 1 game of all time. She's over here looking and going.
I put it as an endorsement actor. Now it's a 6. It's still above average on my rating. But yeah, Hops says, isn't that Lexi's favorite game?
It's her number 1 of all time. Yep.
But the thing is, I love Raiders of the North Sea. I love I love Architects. I love Viscounts. I think those 3 are better. But Paladins is still one that I can see myself playing. It's not like, oh, I hate this game now. But it's the longest out of all of them. But it's also the driest. And I know that the games aren't necessarily the most thematic things in the world. I mean, take Viscounts. But with this one, it just feels like it goes one step further beyond that. The idea that you've got these colored meeples for whatever reason, and then each round you get a particular set of them, and then you're just putting them on your board to trigger the same action over and over again. Because most games, I find that you just pick 2 of them that gel with each other, and then spam them over and over again. It's like that gets very rinse repeat after a while. And as much as the puzzle is fun to an extent, like, oh, how am I going to be efficient with this? How do I be efficient with this? At the end of the day, I am basically just leveling up a bunch of tracks. And that is very beige Euro for me. This is like the most beige of all the Garfield games. And yet they're very colourful.
It's the most green. It is the most green.
Yes,
Look
definitely.
Look at that player board. It's the most green. No, this is interesting to me because I also love Paladins of the West Kingdom. I do love Viscounts. I really like Architects. Architects is the game that I have taught the most to people.
Right.
I have played Architects at 5 and absolutely have loved it. I've played it at 4. I've played it at 2. Played it solo. Wayfarers, which just came out, which we already reviewed. Fantastic. They're just hitting it on all cylinders. So yeah, I definitely disagree with you on that, but here's what I do agree with you on. I do think that from a mechanical standpoint, it is the quote driest in that sense, because all you're doing is plugging in the colored workers and doing the things on the tracks. Now, for me, for Lexi especially, that we love that. That's what is so neat. You're like, it's like you're a console worker, like you're air traffic control, and you're just plugging in different things, moving levers and all that other stuff. So I do get that.
That's the thing. I want the levers to mean something when I pull it, though.
Yeah.
As opposed to gets the card. Because I mean, I can level up. I'll decide in this game I'm going to get walls and I'm going to level up the potion blue, whatever that blue thing is there, track. And then I rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Then the game's nearly over and then I might grab 1 or 2 other things. With the players, also with other players, this is a game that was better solo. When the times I enjoyed it most was solo because playing it with 3 or 4 players just frankly didn't make any difference. It was still okay to play, but then it's like I didn't really care what the other player was doing because at the end of the day, they just grab a certain card of Meeples and might take a certain card you like. But after coming from Architects, which was a massive hit for me, that one where you can arrest each other's Meeples and, you know, the worker placement is still important as to not let someone get too powerful, but then you've got all the options for the different apprentice cards and that, and you do get some of the villager cards here, but they don't come into play as much. And so as much as like, I mean, you're right, Garfield games have been hitting it out of the park, and as much as like Sam probably hates my guts by now, it's it's, you know, this is like saying, right, I've got Viscounts and Architects as 10 out of 10 games. I've got Raiders of the North Sea as a 9 out of 10 game. This one started off as a just about 8, quickly fell to a 6 once I started getting the rinse repeat feel, but I don't think it will go below 6. I think it will still stay at above average. It's just everybody, when you say, like, what's one of your favorite solo games or what's your favorite Garfield game, this one is the one that gets mentioned. I'm like, over the others? Why? It's like...
Yeah, and this is Lexi's number 1. It's not my number 1. And I honestly believe, for me, especially with the expansions, Architects is climbing. There's 2 expansions for Architects. I think both of them are fantastic. I do like City of Crowns, though, for Paladins. I think it opens it up a little bit more with the Diplomat moving around, that orange Diplomat moving around. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying, but boy,
I love this quote. Air traffic controllers of the West Kingdom. That does actually sound on it.
No, well, they have another series coming. They did North, they did West, they did South. They have to still do the East. So it has to be air traffic controllers of the East Coast is what the next trilogy needs to be.
God knows. I mean, that's a very Wayfarers I really liked as well. So it's not
so good.
Yeah, this is like a one-off. I mean, I haven't played Explorers and Shipwrights, but I mean, those two are already ones.
We have Explorers. I haven't played Shipwrights. We have Explorers. It's actually very good. It's a good little towel laying, tableau building game. It's actually pretty cool.
People have told me to play Explorers.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about Paladins, just to switch it back to that. The decision on drawing 3, now not with the expansion. With the expansion, you actually get more Paladins, so it's one you draw 4, but you draw 3. You have to put one on the top of your deck, play one, and get rid of one for the rest of the game. What do you think about that decision? Not consequential, or do you think? Because I think that is so fascinating that there are Paladins that will not come out in every single game based on what I'm doing.
I like that decision as a concept. I just don't think I have a very hard time making it because I've already decided which 2 actions I'm going to spam the whole game. So when I get the free Paladins, I can instantly go, you're okay. You're exactly what I need. You don't do the colors I want. Right, you're out. And and that's the problem, because I'm not doing a bit of everything. I don't have a need for like a good third of my deck, so it's like that third of the deck can go. I have not played this with City of Crowns though, and I would be more than, I mean, just like you were saying with Outer Rim with that expansion, I'd be perfectly happy to sit down and play this with City of Crowns to see if that, you know, bumps it up a bit. Because I mean, opening it up and giving me a few more opening it up and just giving me a little bit more options for what to score with. You know,
and it does. Better, in fact, City of Crowns, like I said, it's the same thing what you said about the Outer Rim expansion. It may not convert you, but it may bump you up a little bit more, because I think the expansion actually increased the score for me for Paladins. It put us into the over 9. We do decimals in our reviews rating system, so it's like a 9.2. It's like one of the highest rated games we've ever given at this point. But
I never do decimals. But what does 9.2 mean to a 9? That's what I don't get.
We use the reason is because, listen, because I'm a student. Okay, I've been to school quite a bit, and it's always a 100-point scale, at least in America. I don't know how they do it over there where you are, but it's a 100-point scale, and a 92 out of 100 is still a very, very good score. And we do actually score on a 100-point scale, but then we just truncate it for the 10-point thing for BGG. So it's really a 92 out of 100, which makes a little bit more sense. 9.2 doesn't, like, what's the 0.2 versus a 9? It's just part of how we do our scaling. That's all.
That's fair enough. Okay.
I still disagree with you.
Oh yeah, but don't, I mean, you've disagreed with 2 of mine. I've done one of yours crew. So, but like I say, it's more the chat I'm worried about later.
All right.
Go for it.
I'll speed it up. Cascadia is my number 6.
Oh God, you are so gonna get 8 for that one. Why?
Shoutout Games 2021 release reached 53. Now look, we have Cascadia in the collection. I have not played Calico. I have not.
That's overrated then.
I have not played the new Verdant, which seems to be getting not as good of a reception as Cascadia. I think Cascadia is fine. I think Cascadia, if I were to bring over family, in fact, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week in the States. And so when we go over, or actually people are coming to our house, Cascadia will be one of the games that gets pulled out for people in our family that don't really play board games as a hobby, because it's easy to teach. It plays very fast. I mean, even a 4-player game with all 80 tiles in the middle are fine. However, the variety in the scoring is very just, okay, the bears, they want to be in pairs, but depending on which one of the bears cards come out, like this is the pattern we're looking for. The salmon always want to be in a line because they swim. I do get that. The elk, they want to be kind of in a circle.
It's thematic.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I agree. And I like the pine cone thing, messing up, not having to take the card and the token and the tile that you don't want. You can mix it up. I have no problem with this game. It's in our collection. We do enjoy it. But I think it's overrated. I just don't think that when you're looking at a game this simple, this light, just because a game is accessible doesn't mean that it deserves to be this high in the rating. The artwork is hard to appreciate unless you're just staring at the goal cards the entire time, because the tiles just have your basic colored terrain on it. The tokens have a little screen print of the animal, and they're, it's very abstracted in that way. I love building my own little tableau. Like I said, I could list more that I love about this game, more than I dislike. My inclusion, and it's number 6. It's not like it's number 1. I'm not hating on Cascadia.
True, but this is 10 out of a lot of games.
I totally get it. Yeah, that's true. So Cascadia just being this high, I guess I just don't understand. I mean, it's a good game, but I couldn't rate it. I wouldn't rate it that highly. I just wouldn't. It's good. It's a good game. I would rate it a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. That's what I
good then.
That's what I mean. It's a good game. I just don't think it should be 53. And actually, I checked it. I had on my notes when I checked it, it was 55. Now it's already up to 53, and it's probably going to climb higher because it runs Yaris and all that other stuff. So
I'm positive it should be top 50 at least.
Really?
I mean, the animal scoring makes sense, but the different A to D cards, you get a lot of variety of like how tough it can be, and some of those hawks especially can get some weird and wacky scoring things. But besides just being pretty on the table, it's just like you say, it's super fast, super quick. I'll play it solo, 2, 3, or 4. Now the problem, I can teach it in like 2 seconds. We get it done in 45 minutes. It's I have so much fun with this one.
But it doesn't get samey to you? See, for me, it just feels samey. It just feels like every play, and I've taught this to many people. Lexi and I played this a good bit. It's very samey. And I already hear you, Luke, because you are the honest voice in this hobby. And yes, I'm buttering you up, but I know that I know you're going to speak your mind, and that's what I love about your channel. And I know you're going to disagree with me, but I don't think that just an accessible game, something that's simple, something that's quick, something that is all of those things that I think as gamers want to bring people into the hobby. And maybe that is part of the rating. Maybe that is why it's rated so high. Okay, maybe I'm totally wrong, and I completely accept that if I'm totally wrong.
Hard to say, because there are some games in the top 50 which are like niche, massive games that no one's going to have.
You're right, and that's what I don't get. Yeah. So part of me doesn't understand, and maybe this has to do with the flaws just that are inherent in the BGG ranking system in general. But when I see this being in the top and how fast it got in there, it was just like, oh, I mean, it's good, and I like all those features of it, but I don't know. I mean,
I must admit, when I first played it, I remember when I did my top 10 of the year, I think it was only at like my number 10 of the year. I was like, I'd played it and gone, this is pretty cool, but it's not as much as the other games. And then when I did the retrospective look, I think it went up to my second favorite of the thing, because the more I played it, I don't find it that, I mean, you could argue, okay, yeah, you're getting the tokens and you're trying to do those things, but it's the tactical lead of like what pairs of tokens. But I think it's just that charming simplicity of it. I've got the game's only like 45 minutes anyway, so if it's rinse repeat and you're doing it like Wonderland's War, I'm doing rinse repeat for 2.5 3 hours there. That's taking it forever. 45 minutes,
you have me on that one. You're
done and dusted. But then it's almost like just like a little zen calming game. Maybe because I like animal themes, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've got the simple decisions where it's like, oh, this is nice, it's pretty, I'm building my own part, but then I've got that tense decision of, right, well, I should put the animal there, or I should grab that one, but I really want this tile to link up, I want the terrain to link up. It's like, it's not like they're brain burny or you feel like you're on the back foot. You've always got something good to do, and the scoring in this is super tight. The amount of times I've had this go down to a tiebreaker at times, you could never be too comfortable that you're in the lead. It can really just go nice. I love this.
It's very true. It's very true. We've seen people, really run away with it. We've seen, I have seen the tokens, even if you have the acorns or whatever they are, the pine cones, to be able to swap. Sometimes it's a bad draw for pretty much, for one person or whatever the case is. But like you said, it does play fast. I know all the features of it. I do like it. It's in our collection. We do play it, and we like to introduce it to new people. But just for me, and I don't know, as far as my reasoning for it, it's just mainly there are so many other games that we could say have those same exact features. Any of the Century games are very accessible. I've used the Century Golem edition, for example, to really pull people in. And I think that is far more charming, far simpler, and far more decision space than Cascadia. Cascadia just, and by the way, there are times where you do get stuck and you can't use something, and that never feels good in Cascadia. Like, for example, if you take a terrain and you have no
it's very short,
and you have to take an animal token and you can't place that animal token, you have to put it back in the bag. And that just,
that's very short-lived.
I know.
And even then, rarely have I can't remember the last time I saw somebody take an animal and couldn't place it somewhere. It's like you have to really paint yourself in a corner on that respect.
It's true.
But still,
it's true.
That's this is overrated games. We've got to be attacking some heavy hitters. Just like this one. Although I can't imagine. I mean, I see a lot of people locally talk highly of this one, and people might think that I'm going on a little bit of a Stonemaier hate train at the moment. But I love free games from Stonemaier a ton. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them turns up on Branden's list later. But I do love 3 of his games a ton. But there is a trend where, okay, what is going on with the design space? And as much as people I know locally will talk highly of this, what are you on with Tapestry? Tapestry is the most unbalanced like Euro track leveling game I have seen in a while. It is, I mean, we talk about the time length of games being lies. This one lies through its back teeth about what it's going to be. It's like, oh, this is a civilization game. No, it's not. It's like, this is 4 tracks on the board, level them up, no theme, whatever tech you get, who cares? Oh, yeah, I got the glass tech. Means nothing. And then on top of that, I mean, people say that, oh no, it's a well-designed, instructed game. I'm sorry, any game that requires a giant errata sheet to fix the game 2 weeks after release is, I'm sorry, that's not designed properly. That needed more time in the stewing pot. That got rushed. And even then, that fix didn't actually fix a lot of the factions. There was, try and win with the entertainers. I dare you. There are some that are just still garbage. And it makes a big deal about these Tapestry cards. And that was one of my things that attracted me. It's like, oh, okay. So every round, you get to play these cards and differentiate yourself in some way. This is 3 cards in the entire game. They're super generic. And they're also wildly unbalanced. It's like, seriously, the game looks beautiful. And I wish these buildings, and I mean, this artwork is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I wish that where are they? Oh, well, not the board. The board's pretty bare, but those buildings that I had a minute ago.
The technology cards are awesome too. I think the artwork on the technology cards are better than anything in the game. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, there is beautiful art, and I love these buildings. But what do you do with these buildings? You put them on this little battleship grid, or whatever this is, and just try and make a tile lane puzzle. It's like, seriously, you wasted good production quality on that. It just sucks out every bit of theme. And it's not that the game is necessarily like horrible. I mean, what do I rate it at? 4? All right, so it's below average, but it's It's not that I can go too bad, but man, a lot of people I know and I see people online sort of go like, "Oh yeah, I really like Tapestry." And it's like, is balance not important to you? Do you not want your game to be fair? I mean, this is not a short game. This is a 2-hour, 2.5 hour plus game with a lot of downtime. If you've got 4 or 5 players or something, trust me on that one.
Yeah.
I've been sat there for ages, and I'm sorry, it needed fixing after release within 2 weeks. You can't forgive that.
So this is the third game in a row that I disagree with you on. However, I'm gonna tell you something that may surprise you. When I first played Tapestry, Lexi and I played it at 2, and because it just is the tech tree game, which I agree with you 100%, whether it's your board and the 4 tracks at the top, whether it's all the 4 of the tracks around the side. I like tech trees and I like tech tracks. It's one of my favorite things in games. So does Lexi. And so it plays well at 2 because of that reason, because it's one of those games that scales well at 2. So when we first played it, we did not.
It probably is actually best at 2. I would give it that. Yeah.
Probably, yeah, because it does not play that long at 2. It doesn't play 2 hours. We've played it many times, so it goes pretty quick. We didn't play it with the errata. At that point, I didn't know about the errata. And when we first played our first game, I could not believe how swingy it was, how imbalanced it felt, how it was awful. I agree with you that there are still imbalances in the game. But what was funny is when I went to Board Game Geek, I wanted to throw the game against the wall. We literally were about to get rid of it, like burn it, like get out. I hated it. Lexi was fine with it. She was like indifferent. I hated it. But we kept it, and I started looking around, and I saw the errata, and I'm like, okay, there's errata. But then I saw there was a lot of denial. I don't think Jamie, and I could be misreading this, I don't remember exactly, but I thought that at the beginning of this, when people were outspoken about how imbalanced it was, it almost seemed like he was defending the design as was. Well, now there's been, I forget how many revisions. You download the latest errata. There's been 5 or 6 revisions to it. I think they're still possibly trying to balance the game. So I totally agree with you on that one. It is incredibly swingy. There are some civilizations, I say that loosely, that are just very bad.
He's a very proud businessman.
He is.
Not a hardcore gamer. But then the proud businessman means that a lot of his decisions will be based on cha-ching.
Yes.
And it also means that he's not willing to necessarily admit fault. And it's like, you had to revise this game so often, you cannot claim the design was right to begin with, because other games don't do this. They might have FAQs, and the more FAQ they get, the worse the rules might have been, but they don't fundamentally change the mechanics of all their player powers. I mean, Cosmic Encounter does not do that with any of its aliens, and... But then other games with a lot of player powers, you don't see them bringing out giant erratas straight after the fact.
Yeah.
You had to have known this from playtesting.
Right. And I think this game needs revision. I think it needs at least a second edition. I still think there needs to be balance. And I think part of the reason is because you can gain another civ. Some cards in the game allow you to get another civ, and now you have 2. And so maybe they were trying to mitigate that. So I don't know.
It's unwieldy, man. I mean, honestly, I reckon this game could have worked better under a different publisher. Somebody who was willing to let it stew in the oven longer.
Interesting.
And get that balance aspect right. Because of what Scythe and Viticulture and Wingspan feel like to me, this doesn't feel even like a Stonemaier game. This feels like a different publisher's game. And so I feel like this is like, okay, this publisher would have done this kind of game, and it would come out much like the same, maybe less production quality, but it would still be that game and probably work better in a sense. But like Clever Swine says, this is not a video game. You can't just patch it like DLC. It's not. Living video games don't work for the most part. Cough EA games, but it's even worse with this. But as I say, not the biggest fan, but we better
And I'm seeing people in the chat. I'm seeing, like Sean mentioned, I think Jamie Stegmaier admits fault even where it isn't warranted. Yeah, I do agree, but I think it has to do with what Luke said, that business mind, where sometimes he'll overcompensate one direction, but then he did defend Tapestry pretty hardcore from what I remember, looking at the forums and stuff right at the very beginning when people were really shouting about it and all of that. So I do think it has to do with that business acumen, so more than being a gamer. So yeah. I agree with that.
Okay, right. Oh, blimey. I love the fact this is going to be a long stream because this is good fun, but I hope
Yes.
nobody wants to go to bed tonight. So,
Yeah.
on to fives. But the
All
way I
right.
see it, the way I
Yeah.
see it though, is that people can either just listen to this in the car as a podcast or something, and that's why there's
Sure.
timestamps. So,
That's
and to
right.
be fair, this is probably the most live viewers I've had in God knows how many years. So
Yeah, that's what we
clearly
want. Thank you.
clearly this is your fan club.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I don't know. I recognize some folks in there, Gizmo, and yeah, there's some folks, but most of them, I think. Well, I think a lot of them are fans of ours too. I think there's crossover between you and I, which is great. My number 5 is from Colossal Games. Maybe this is another sandbox issue that I have, but 2018 release it reached up to 243. I know it's another one I'm going to step on toes.
2 words.
Western Legends.
Yeah. As soon as you mentioned sandbox, right?
Yeah. This game, first of all, do not try to play it at 2. The Man in Black, the deck of cards is so incredibly random and imbalanced and stupid that I would never recommend this game at 2. But even at some higher player counts, and look, it's very highly rated. There's a lot of expansions for it. There's blood money. There's ante-up. There's all these different things. And it has a seal of excellence, as you're seeing on the screen from the Dice Tower. I didn't get it. I just don't understand. And it's not that I don't like sandbox games. I do like sandbox games, but I still like game arc. And I still think that with a and it's hard. I know it's difficult because even in video games, a sandbox game can drag on and you can feel like there's so much sandboxiness that you're not really, that story is not driving you to a climax. And so I understand that in board games, it can be difficult even more so to capture that moment. But this whole idea of, well, I can be kind of the sheriff, kind of the law-abiding guy, but then if I want to, I can just sort of change gears and become an outlaw and then kind of go back this direction again. And it felt like, I just felt like it was too loose of a design. There weren't like, like in Architects, Luke, since you do like Architects of the West Kingdom, and I know it's a totally different kind of game, but you know how when you get too high on the virtue track, then you can no longer take black market actions. But if you're too low, if you lose too much virtue, then you can't even build the cathedral. So in other words, there's consequences based on your chosen direction on like this virtue, this moral thing that you're dealing with. And in a sandbox game with moral choices, I think that as you advance in that direction, I like it when a game, whether it's a video game or a board game, will lock off certain things from you. Even though you're taking like the good way, the law, lock off certain things that are consequences that could benefit you.
You don't like the fact you can 180, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that you can look. And I know in real life we can 180, right? The sheriff can turn into a criminal like that overnight. I understand that, but this is a board game. It's
not the other way around, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I would absolutely play this game if I got people and they really were like, hey, we heard your stream with Luke and we disagree with you. Why don't we sit down and play it? Yeah, I would. But my experiences with this so far have just been blech. So I do not like Western Legends.
Oh, I love this one.
Well,
although you are correct. You are correct on several things.
What's that?
Two players is bad. Yes, I would never play this with 2 because I don't like that Men in Black thing either. I typically want to play this with 3 or 4. 5 or 6 just makes the game quite long. I would certainly not play the long version with that many players. But I've also got every expansion for it, and granted, it does mean that when I bring this to the table, I've got to relearn it a bit. And it's like I say, it's still a game I really love, but I do hate the fact that I've got to relearn a bunch of rules and obviously teach it fresh. But man, I do love a good sandbox game, and even though I'm not even a Western fan, I barely know anything about Western films. I mean, I've probably seen more parody Western films than I have actual proper Westerns. I mean, when Maverick's probably one of my favorite Western movies, and even then, that's probably stretching the definition of a Western. I don't know. It's got that thing. I mean, I can't say that Back to the Future 3 is my favorite Western because I'd probably be strung up for that.
Oh, yeah, you would. You would.
I do love those movies, though. But I love this idea. I love the poker deck system. This idea that all those cards are poker cards, and I can use them in an actual game of poker, or use them for their abilities or other things. So I've got the multi-choice cards, a theme that works. Yes, I know thematically it doesn't make sense that you can 180 from a criminal to a sheriff. It's quite amusing when you do it, but yeah, it's like, what? I tend to not do that. I tend to stick with one path and just keep going with it. Like, oh, you caught me. Oh, well, I'm going to try again. You know, I'm going to keep going to be a crook.
Right.
So,
and maybe to keep the other players on their toes, you know, that you're playing with, because you are playing with other people. And so maybe that 180 track switch, and I try to give the benefit of the doubt, maybe that's in there because you just can't predict what that sheriff might do. You might assume that they're going to go on the law and not bust you if you're robbing a train. You don't know. They might join you, and then all of a sudden they're taking away your rewards, you know, things like that. So I guess maybe that's why they have it in there, to keep the other players on their toes. Maybe.
But I say it hasn't hit the table in a while, mainly just because of its bloat. But if I know it's hitting the table at a convention or like locally or something, it's like, oh yeah, I'm tempted. It's like, I'll start heading in that direction. But yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not. You say, compared to some of the other ones, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna argue that one too much.
All right.
Good. All right. Well, this, I don't know if you two like it or not. I think you mentioned it earlier on though, so I've got a feeling you do like this one. And actually, I mentioned a comment about like everything comes out trying to be a Splendor killer and that. This one isn't technically a Splendor killer, but I basically just call it Splendor with extra steps, because half of the game is Splendor. The other half is a track, which then makes the game take not 30 to 60 minutes. We're talking 90 or something, especially with 4 or 5 players. It's like, seriously, finish. It is beautiful as all get out. And I don't dislike the game. I just think it's meh. I'd rather play Splendor or Tokaido, not Parks. It's like, but
I never played never played this one. Yeah.
All right. I thought you mentioned it earlier, so I was expecting this one to have massive blowback. But because what is it about? That was Images. Was it right? 125. I mean, it's not simple enough to be gateway level, I don't think, because you might as well play Splendor or Tokaido, because it's basically taking those two mechanics and shoveling them together. But then it's also not short enough for 30 to 60 minutes unless you are playing this solo or 2-player. I've never seen a game go less than 60 minutes with this, with anything above 3 players. And 5 is usually just stapled on. I mean, we were talking about time length of games. 5 is just stapled onto every game to make it sell. And, you know, it's a nice, pretty game. It's I wouldn't even call it Zen-like, though. I mean, if I play Cascadia, I'm relatively relaxed. If I play this one, I'm too busy frustrated because based on just sheer happenstance, everybody's taking the spaces I want, which means I'm left with... Yeah, I mean, you mentioned, I get that turn where I've got to return an animal to the bag. I've seen that happen once in every game of Cascadia I've played. Every game, me or someone else is in this going, you've taken all the tokens I want. I can't get what I want. I guess I'll go to this rubbish space and grab something, maybe take a photograph, I don't know. But then I get to the end, I can't trade it in for the big card I want because either someone's already nicked it or I couldn't get the stuff I want. For a game that's meant to be all pretty and zen, this one isn't half frustrating and restrictive.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't played this one, but we haven't bought it either. And we know it's popular. It's actually in not just hobby stores in America. It's in, Target and Walmart and stuff like that, like the chain stores. We have very little interest, and I do like nature-themed games, despite what some of you might think about my Cascadia pick. But Parks is one of those games where I've looked at it, I've listened to comments similar to yours, and we have no interest in it because probably of that, what you're describing. That doesn't feel good, does it? Doesn't feel good when on your turn, you're not able to at least do something that you want, like get one token that you need. But if you're being denied everything you need and it keeps happening, that is a sinking feeling.
Which with 5 players happens a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will go like, we got 5 of us. Does anyone want to play Parks? It's like, not for 90 minutes plus, I don't.
Right.
It's like, come on, there's got to be quicker things with 5. And a lot of people are saying that the sweet spot is typically solo 2 or 3. So I think there's a lot of agreement of don't play this with too many players. I don't get 2-player games to the table that often. 3 probably would work with this. I don't know if it's any good solo, frankly, but I don't want to buy an expansion Nightfall or whatever it is to find out if that's the case. But yeah, it's like I say, I don't think it's bad per se, but it doesn't fit a gateway level game for me, despite being marketed as one. and the fact that it
I
got
agree with you.
so much praise, 125.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it is definitely marketed as a gateway game, and I've heard that it is not that. In fact, I think some of your folks in the comments are saying the same thing. It is not an easy, just an easy breezy game. Yeah.
Nah, because there's a fair amount of rules to teach in it, but also a good gateway game should give you the choices, maybe flummox you at times, but not consistently make you feel you're on the back foot. This one, I'm always feeling I'm on the back foot, and that's not a pun for the fact that you're trekking through a park. It's just I kind of feel like, I'm either doing really well, in which case rich get richer, or I've started off bad. We've only got so many rounds left. There's no way I can physically catch up now. Which is a shame, because I would put some of this stuff on my wall because it looks that nice.
Yeah, it is a pretty looking game. Yep.
But well, it was a simple one. As much as somebody said Splendor is overrated, I'd much rather play Splendor, and I still have it, as well as the dual version.
Quicker.
So
yeah, much quicker.
Oh god, yeah. Splendor works. All right. Oh great, we're already in top half. So 4s.
All right, number 4. This is my first app-driven game. I don't typically like app-driven games, but I warm up to it. We just played My Father's Work for the first time, played the first scenario, and it was...
Oh, you mean app integrated? I thought you meant like this was an app. Right, I see.
Yeah, app dependent, app dependency, app integrated. Yeah, I don't mind app-assisted games where you can play it with the app and it helps you and it does some things, but full app integration where this big box of stuff now has to have the app to work.
Yeah.
And if, that I'm very wary of, and I've commented on it a lot. I know that that's the trend. I know that that's where we're going. I don't think it should be in every board game, because I don't think that it has a place in every single game. In this game, I do not like this game. We tried so hard, and I know there's been many iterations of it. It's published by Lucky Duck, at least here. I'm not sure overseas. 2018 release. It reached 109.
Yeah.
It's not there now, but it's Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah.
I love deduction. I like trying to figure out who done it. But this idea of hovering my phone over the QR codes, passing it around the table, it was clunky. Turning the camera and looking around the room was cool. Like, it's cool. It's got that factor of newness, and I get to look around the room. It's like playing Pokemon Go, when the Pokemon shows up and your camera's pointed at your couch and the Pokemon looks like it's sitting on your couch. Like, I think that's cool. That's fine. But it was so imprecise, and I do not like games that feel imprecise, where I just feel like I'm just kind of clawing around in the dark and I don't know exactly where I'm going or what I'm supposed to be doing. I think that I figured it out. And again, we didn't play this at a high player count, and maybe that's part of the reason. I would play this again, which is another caveat. I would play these again. It's not that I hate these games. I just think that's overrated for what it is. There's been many more Chronicles of Crime released. I'm talking about Chronicles of Crime, the very first base game. There was so much hype around this. That's why we bought it. And when we played it, or when I played it, I'm just going to speak for myself. I was like, this is goofy. It was boring. It was sort of, I don't know. It seemed like everything that we thought we were onto as far as clues were somehow way wrong. And when we got to the end, I know we played the tutorial. I think we played all of them in the base game, all of the, whatever they are, the scenarios. It just didn't work. It didn't work. I didn't like it. And I thought of myself, man, almost 100. And here's what I want to ask then, Luke. And I don't know if you have an opinion on this or not, or an answer to this, but did it reach 109? Did it reach this level because of that app integration, or because it was a good game? I tend to think it had to do with the novelty of the camera and everything else. That's my opinion.
I see a lot of games do novelties and not succeed. I don't think the app alone, just by being an app, helped, because there were other app assisted games at that point. I think the game, because I mean, this is one I really do like, but I don't play. I mean, I've got a lot of content for it and I still haven't played half of it, so there's still a bunch of scenarios I need to get played. And I have had the occasional problem with it where, I mean, I love deduction games, and so I love the stories and the settings and the characters and the dynamic stuff that this one does. The only bit I'm not the biggest fan of is that 3D looking through the glasses thing, because it can be fun now and again, but if you miss something critical in one of those things, you're kind of screwed because you kind of needed to have spotted that, and it could literally have just been bad eyesight that meant I missed it. That's where I've tripped up with this game, and why, as much as I do really enjoy it, it's not perfect for me, because it's like, that could we not have done something else with that whole 3D-ness? Because I don't mind the QR codes. I think the QR code's a nice cheap way of being able to do a lot of different story bits, and the app does work really nice and smoothly, particularly now as they have ironed it out a little bit. I think in the first instance it was a tiny bit buggy, but it's, I mean, I can get why people wouldn't necessarily love it. I'm perfectly fine with app-assisted games providing this justification for it. They need to they need to like take out some of the admin, or allow, like this one does, dynamic story events, but don't just put an app in a game for the sake of an app in the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I've played a lot of deduction games. We just played one, I think it was called Sherlock Files. It's just a deck of cards. And the way that it worked was so simple and so fun. And it worked well. And I like Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, which is more of a social deduction game, but it's kind of the same thing. You're trying to figure out who did it and work through clues and bluffing and stuff. This just didn't, it felt like I was on rails in a game that I didn't know how to play well. And like you said, with the impreciseness of like, what are we missing? We definitely missed stuff, but we had no way to go back and verify or check. You know, it just felt so loose and bizarre. So yeah, it wasn't a
It can be fragile. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not perfect. I do like the simplicity of it, though. The fact that I can literally, after not playing it for a while, just go back and it's like, oh yeah, there's like 2 pages of rules, because the app handles a lot of that stuff for me. It's so refreshing compared to going back to a massive Euro and then sort of going, I better sit down and study this for a bit. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, it does fill a niche, and I do hear what you're saying, and that's what we were hoping it was going to give to us. But we haven't tried any of the new iterations of it either, because of that first experience with it. So again, it was something I'm absolutely willing to try again. I just don't. I think it's very overrated based on my experiences of it. So
it is highly regarded. So yeah, definitely. I expect if this was going to be on the list, it was definitely going to be this high up.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. So this is an interesting one, because technically I don't think the game's even been released, although it might as well have, because it still gets played everywhere. At least when I say everywhere, at every convention. It's not even so much that this one will be particularly highly rated when it eventually comes out. I don't know if it is released yet. It's so weird. But honestly, can people just shut up about Blood on the Clock Tower now? Because I'm getting sick and tired of this thing constantly appearing at conventions to, you know, and people going, oh, this was so much fun. Yeah, but it took you, like, you were in there for like 3 hours. Yeah, but it was still fun. What, you sat there and watched some guy act like a lunatic with a book and give out tokens, and that was good for 3 hours, was it? And it's a while since I've played it last, but I have played it a couple of times. I played it when it was at Games Expo, and they were showing it off, because they seem to appear at every convention to show it off. And even at GridCon with Paul Grogan's one, again, somebody was there playing it there, and it's just like, it's a bunch of you sat there for hours, and it's like, but it's Werewolf with extra steps.
Yep.
You know, and I don't remember Werewolf ever being. I mean, America, I think, hyped up Werewolf a bit more when it first came out.
And I do not like Werewolf at all. Lexi doesn't either. We hate that game. So,
but that's the thing. In America, I know that you've done a lot more conventions with like 40 odd players or something that, whereas I don't think I've heard of Britain ever doing that at all.
Right.
But this one, for some reason, it just keeps appearing at every convention. It's stupidly overpriced. I can't remember. I swear it's a 3-digit price tag for this thing. And all it is just for that bookcase with some tokens.
Yep.
Again, put half of it on an app, it would probably do the same thing or something. But again, nobody cried this much when Werewolf came out. So what makes this any different? If anything, I'd swear this one's probably worse than Werewolf, because at least the structure of Werewolf was sort of consistent in that, whereas this one, I keep hearing horror. I mean, I hear some people go like, oh, amazing, you know, fantastic. But then I've had friends of mine play this, and they've said, oh, it's gone on forever. Whatever happened in the first couple of rounds was weird, and it just meant that the game elongated for longer. So it's like, okay, so you've just got a slightly, I don't know if it's broken or it's just very fragile or something, but again, why is everybody like clawing each other at like Black Friday to get in a position in this game whenever it appears at a convention, when it is just basically another werewolf game? It's not like it's a revolution or an innovation. Is it just the storyteller thing? Is it just because you get to watch some guy act like a complete idiot for a bit?
Maybe,
I mean...
maybe, but therein lies the problem. If you don't have a good storyteller, I cannot imagine this game being good. It hinges on that one role, because the rest of it is all tokens and keeping your eyes closed and doing the same thing with thumbs up and take a look, open your eyes. I don't know if you've ever watched a live stream. There are channels that live stream their Blood on the Clock Tower plays. I would much rather watch golf. And
oh yeah,
it is a snooze fest, and that's why. And look, I understand during COVID, people were trying to get together and do a lot of stuff. I know Dice Tower, Tom was running a lot of big games on streaming for Werewolf. I could not watch them. I could not imagine a more boring way to get people virtually together than playing Werewolf or playing one of these games. It's just so much silence and quiet, dead air. And I have no interest in it. So I agree with you, even though I haven't played it, but I've played similar games. So
that's the thing. You get a scene like this. It's like, yeah, you're having fun because you get to stand up there and be an idiot, but everybody else is sat on a chair, mostly in silence. I walk past and I can't tell whether they're in an admin phase or this is part of the game or they're just waiting for the storyteller to tell them what to do. But nothing about it feels exciting. I feel like I'd be sat down. I mean, when I played it, they were only demoing part of it, so it wasn't even full games, I don't think. Or maybe one of them was. I can't remember. I remember one ending really quick because somebody made a mistake. Again, fragile game.
Yeah.
But it's just I played it and everyone was raving about it. They sort of go, oh yeah, I really want to get into this. And like, yeah, but it's Werewolf with extra steps. Why is this so much better?
Yeah. And like... Ashley in the chat, I just noticed, Ashley, thank you. I noticed she said, an improvement that I could give this game credit for is that when you die, you still get to vote. And I do understand that, because Werewolf, that really hurts. Any kind of game with player elimination, it makes you think of Monopoly, it just makes you think of those horrible triggering experiences of bad board games past. But even just with the ability to still vote, now it just... And again, I haven't played it, so please take this with a very, very small grain of salt, or a very big grain of salt, I should say. But it just seems like if you still have the right to vote and you're eliminated, is that king making? So I don't know. Luke, you could probably talk to that. If you can still vote when you're dead, is there an element of king making in this?
I don't remember enough of it because, like I say, the rules might have changed. Because the thing is, this was a couple of years ago, and it's like this thing's been on. This is the early access of social deduction games. When is this game going to release? Why is it taking them 2-3 years to release a social deduction clone of Werewolf? This can't be right. Is it because it's on early access that everybody's getting hyped for it? I don't know, but it's
maybe they want
shut up and stop bringing it to conventions.
Maybe people want to be. Maybe they want to justify that high price tag, and the way you do it is getting people to buy in.
You cannot. I'm sorry. I know
that's a lot.
I had One Night Werewolf for a while, which I enjoyed. I've sold that since because it sort of got a little bit too chaotic and that. I've got Werewords downstairs. Werewords gives me the exact same werewolf feel, easy to teach because it's basically 20 questions. The game is done and dusted in 5 minutes, and I still get that social deduction feel like a werewolf thing. I can do that for what, like $15? I don't need to pay $150 for this bookcase and... I'm guessing costume not included, for whoever decides to stand up and be the thing.
I don't know. Maybe
I don't get this.
Maybe the idea is to just play so long that you just get drunk and then you forget what's going on, and that's how the game. I don't know. Who knows?
I'd rather get drunk in a game I enjoy. That's the thing. I don't get it. Just stop bringing it to conventions now, or release it properly. Enough of this early access nonsense.
Just release it. Yeah. Amen.
Oh, well. Top three.
That's another Fantasy Flight. So this is 2 on my list from Fantasy Flight. This one reached 88. I think it's still in the top 100. It might be ready to bounce out. I think I just saw it today. It's 100. I don't know. It's 2019 release. This is another app integrated game, and I do not like this one. I just don't. And it's Lord of the Rings, Journeys in the Earth.
Right. The Journeys in Middle Earth.
Yes. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guru, but I really do like. I love the books. I've read them several times. I like The Hobbit. All of that. I could justify it a million ways. I've even read all the like weird stuff, all the stuff that he wrote long before. So I love the theme in this, which is why we got this one and not Mansions of Madness. I think Lexi wanted to try Mansions of Madness, but after we played this and we learned that, and those of you who have played Mansions of Madness second edition can let me know, Luke, you probably have, basically the same thing, same system, but as far as the app part of it and all of that, but just a different theme. And of course, the way that they use the cards in Lord of the Rings was clever. I did like that, as far as having the successes be on cards versus drawing out of a bag, like in Arkham Horror, or any number of ways that they do that with dice and things like that. I did like that. I like the card play in the game, but it was a game where it seemed like there was and I did also like, there's one more thing. I like to say what I like about the game, because I don't hate these games. I would play them again. Lord of the Rings, Journeys of Middle Earth, if you fail a mission, what I liked is you still were able to proceed.
Yeah.
I don't understand how more of these games, like Gloomhaven in particular, I mean, I don't understand that, where it's just try again, you fail, you have to do the same thing over again. And it's just this silly, unthematic thing. I did like that in Journeys of Middle Earth. So understand, I did like it. However, this is not the adventure game that I wanted. It felt like it was on rails in the worst kind of way. In other words, I wanted to stop and explore everywhere there was a token. I wanted to really engage and get into the world. But every time we did that, we failed the mission, because the mission wanted you to continue to press forward.
Yes.
And it felt artificial. It felt like it was artificial because all these enemies are pouring onto the board, and it just felt like it was rushing me when I wanted to slow down and take a look at that tree over there. You know, I wanted to go see what was up that tree, or what was in that bush, or what this person token was over there. And it just didn't let me do it. And so here's what ended up happening. We'd end up splitting up to try to like, so there's objectives,
cover
right?
more ground.
Yeah, right. Cover more ground. But then you would get overwhelmed with enemies and you got smashed. And so we never figured out how to properly play this game. And it felt like the game was playing me versus me playing the game. There it is.
That I definitely agree with, for the most part, in the sense of it forces you to press on. So I liked it despite that at first. When they released Adventure Mode, did you ever try that mode?
I have not. Nope.
Adventure Mode basically they called it easy mode, but it's only easy in the respect that the timer is elongated. It's not that the enemies are any easier, as far as I can tell. It's the fact that the threat timer doesn't go so quickly. So you won't necessarily be able to explore everything on the map still, but you are more comfortable doing it. You don't feel like you have to rush on like crazy.
Yeah.
So that certainly would make it more your thing. However, I do agree that it is a little on rails, because yes, you can fail a mission and still go on. And I do like that the recent campaigns have had some branching paths, but each mission is kind of, you go through the mission, there's not much replayability in said mission.
Yeah.
The main thing that is making this drop for me a bit is, because it certainly was, it still is, well, it was in my top 100 recently. Whether it will stay there, I'm not sure, because the problem I'm having is that the difficulty curve in this is getting ridiculous now, because you play through the first half of the campaign and it's not too bad, You might get the odd spike. But then you get to the very last couple of missions, particularly the finales, and they just end up so hard. Like bone-crushingly difficult, because they basically send so many enemies at you, some being boss characters, that are nigh on impossible to take down with even a couple of people on your side. I mean, you like have to have like 3 or 4 people with you. You've only got 1 character or 2 characters, you're just not going to be able to take them down. And it is quite crushing to sort of go, oh, I enjoyed this campaign until the ending. And then it keeps face planting. And the more and more that's happening with each campaign I play, the more the rating for this one is dropping. But I do love the theme. I like Lord of the Rings as well, though I'm nowhere near a Tolkien lore master like some people, but even I can recognize that Rings of Power was garbage.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
But or at least pretty garbage. But
it was garbage.
Yeah, I struggled to get through that.
Yeah.
But like I say, I like the theme. I would much rather play the LCG personally. for like
Yeah, didn't they
I like
just
the cards, I like the
yeah.
app, but yeah, I must admit, the more that the finale keeps punching me in the face, the
Yeah.
less I'm liking it.
Yeah, and that's tough when you make that progress, because we actually sat and played it with another couple. This was a few years ago. And it used to be in my top 100 as well. When in fact Lexi, when we first played it, literally said this again a couple years ago. She said this is like amazing. Like she was really in love with it. I had the problem with it, but it was just we sat for 8 hours and played it. 8 hours we played this game straight, and it was like. Yeah, we really got that on the rails feeling. So, and we never even got to those finales because it just sort of fizzled after that, unfortunately. Now, I haven't played the adventure mode. I haven't gone back to it. Oh, I wanted to ask you, cost. Are the expansions, the big box expansions for this game, just as expensive as the base game in your country?
Not far off. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
the price
bad.
point. The price point for these expansions is ridiculous.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. I don't even know what they're doing unless they're charging for the app development part of it, like in the cost of the actual physical game that you're buying.
Which I know has to I know that has to factor into an extent,
Right.
but still, no. I got to admit, it's one of those games that I've enjoyed despite the price point. But yeah, I would never defend that it's great value for money, particularly when you do get the campaign boxes and it's like, well, you already own most of it. It's just some new stuff, and there is such a thing as too much content. I mean, if they just released DLC campaigns, which they did do a couple, that's all I need. I don't need loads of extra figures or whatever. Just give me the DLC campaigns. And I suppose another thing that is making this drop, and it's a trend that I'm starting to go down now, is I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed with long campaigns that you can't split down or do standalone. And I had the same problem with Oathsworn. I thought Oathsworn was a good game, but I'll never finish it. It's one that I've played a few times. I'll never finish it because it's 70 plus hours of content. I can't easily play it standalone. Yes, there is a method to doing it, but it's nowhere near as good as playing for the full thing. And it's the same with this. I have to play from the start all the way through without a break. But then say something like Manchester Madness that someone else mentioned in the comments, that is a scenario, which is why Manchester Madness will always overtake Journeys in Middle-earth, because if I want to play Mansions, I can just whip out a scenario. Do I want a 60-minute one? Do I want a 4-hour one? I choose. I don't need to leave this set up on the table for several days or weeks to get it played. And so, like I said, this one is dropping. So it's not one that I'm going to suddenly defend to the hilt, because after a while, even I'm starting to grow weary of it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, number 3. Right. Hopefully, I'm not going to get too much backlash on this, but I mean, most of these games are not, I don't necessarily hate these games, I'm just annoyed by them. No, this game I do truly despise. Although, I don't think, the reason it's not like my number 1 is because I don't think too many people I know keep hyping this one up. But when I do hear people talk highly of it as like, oh yeah, they love it. It's Cranio Creations, it's a bone dry Euro. But the fact that this is ranked 34 put it this high on the list, because I'm sorry, what are people smoking? Because Barrage sucks. I hate this game. But 34. That cover. Oh yeah, that cover just sings, quality Euro to me there. Doesn't that just like scream off the shelf? Don't you just want to see that? Oh, look at that board even. That's probably the nicest the board ever looks, and that's because it's 3D rendered.
Nice.
Most of the components were broken in this game when it first came out, because I remember playing it I think at an early GridCon actually of pools, and get off this stuff. I mean, that just looks warped there. I think that's a play map, but the player boards that you had were like, they were flimsy, those spinny cog wheels, the things slid underneath them. I mean, this was like piss poor component quality. But it's also dry as a bone. I don't feel like I'm doing what the theme suggests. In fact, I actually won my first game not doing anything to do with the theme. I literally just played Germany and bought all their victory point generation buildings and won the game. I mean, that must have been fun.
Wow.
But I must admit, if it's going to be a 3-hour Euro, a term I use called pseudo knockout, which is where you haven't been knocked out of the game, but you might as well have been.
Yep.
This is the epitome of that, because as people are saying, it is savagely mean, like crazy mean. And I don't mind mean games if they're short. not when they're 3 and a bit hours.
Yep.
This game can literally have a simple thing of, right, I'll spend my first turn, I'll go on where that blue spot is. That looks nice, gets me a bit of water, I'll do my thing. Red can simply come by, build something right next to me and go, right, I'm taking all your water. What? Yeah, you don't get anything now. Look at me get all the points and stuff. Right? This happens constantly. Everybody is just in each other's face while playing this. And a lot of the times you can't even stop them doing it. It's not like I can see it coming. You know, if I build anywhere, someone can screw me over. It's just a case of how much do you want to be a git? You know, it's like, I hate this game.
I have not purchased this game, and it's because of all of this that I'm hearing. And I'm sure that it's popular because it's mean, because it's like that. I hate that kind of a game. I do. Because that, to me, like you just said, you said it right. If you're playing a game, if I'm playing a game and it's short and everybody is aware of the take that element of a silly game, I'm fine with take that. But if you watched our video that we just put out last week, Lexi and I, how well do we know each other? We played that little game. One of the things, she got it wrong, but my least favorite mechanism on the planet is take that. And when I was researching Barrage, because I'm a Euro gamer, I love Euro games, I was interested in it, I'm researching it. The more I read about it and I saw Ashley's comments, all of that. I've seen Clever Swine, all of those comments about just how savagely mean it is. Mark's comment, it's just that has turned me off. I would actually be less inclined to even want to play this game because of how popular that opinion is. I don't think that's an opinion anymore. I think it's objective fact that this game is very mean. And the fact that you can win the game without even playing into the theme is also broken. Like, I don't know, if a game's going to be thematic, leaning into the theme should net you the greatest reward.
But as Germany, you can ignore that. I mean, as any other faction, you can't, because the boards are asymmetric. But Germany has a lot of VP generation stuff. So I just built my board because I struggled to understand half the stuff to do with the electric generation stuff. Or actually, not so much understand it, have any capability of doing anything for it. Because every time I built anywhere, someone built on top of me and nicked my stuff. It's like, how do I fight back against this? Answer, you don't. It's very much like somebody, at least 2 out of the 4 people are going to be on the back foot and you just have to wing it. I get maybe this is great 2-player because it's back and forth with each other. I don't believe for a second you can get this done in an hour with 2 players, despite a claim here. But, you know, I don't tend to see this game played with only 2. I see it played with 4. And I despise this game.
Mark says that the proper word is cutthroat, and that
this one's not so much cutthroat. I mean, this is
off with her head.
Off with her head, backstab, castration, the works. Everything is done, and it still looks like this. I mean, this looks so This aesthetics are abysmal.
And I like area control. I like area majority. I like the push and pull of fighting over territory, but I don't like the idea of building something, working up to it, getting all my resources in order, having everything played out in my head, building something with a plan in place, and all of a sudden someone comes in right above me, boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, and takes everything that I've worked hard for. Boy, if I were to describe to you the worst feeling in board gaming, I think that's it. I think that is it. It goes beyond cutthroat. It goes to, that might be bad design, where there's no mitigation around it. That's just bad design, I think, too. You know,
I would disagree there, because interactive being considered dumbed down to mean by new gamers. It's not that interactive equals mean. You can have an interactive game that isn't mean. That could be a negotiation game. I mentioned Architects of the West Kingdom earlier. It's not that mean to arrest a few people, because let's face it, everyone's doing it to everybody, and it's kind of a thing that you need to do to get your workers back. But you can have interaction that isn't just straight up punch you in the face like this one is, and you can't recover easily in this one. If you are on the back foot, you are basically knocked out of the game if you don't get a good start, because this is very much rich get richer. You start off well, you'll keep generating electricity, and you will always be able to generate electricity. You'll be able to build on your previous infrastructure. If you start off bad, you cannot catch up. There's no coming in from the back like the underdog rising to the top. It will not happen in this. That's fine if it's 60 minutes, 75 minutes, not 3 hours. And someone said this game says best at 4. maybe you can do it really quick at 2, but it says best at 4 because people want that mean interactiveness of the game. And granted, you don't get a lot of interactive Euro, so fair play. But despise.
Yeah.
34. Why?
Yeah. And yeah, right, exactly. And Ashley just said it there again. I hate to keep quoting Ashley, but she just said if it's part of if it's the main strategy of a very heavy, long game like that, which I think is what you're saying, it's intolerable for me. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. Completely agree with that. So you've basically, Luke, single-handedly assured that I will never purchase Barrage.
Good. I feel happy. I mean, but there's nothing ever wrong with quoting Ashley. But I mean, it goes both ways. You leave yourself open. What do you expect?
Yeah.
How am I leaving myself open? I mean, first turn of the game, I have to pick somewhere on the board to go. The next person can just come on top of me and screw me over. It's not like I'm opening myself. I have to start somewhere. Right. I don't have the chance to put up any defenses.
So let me ask you a question. Is going first in this game, is it a variable turn order, or is whoever's first is first and then that's it and it doesn't change?
I honestly can't remember.
You can't remember because
I've tried to block this out of my brain.
Right. It sounds like going first is it's not advantageous. It sounds like it's worse to go first. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't know if there's benefits you get for going first or not. But it sounds like going last in that turn order may be better because then you can pick where you want to go and mess somebody over.
It depends how well into the game people are. I mean, if you're playing this with new players, they will get screwed because if you're going first and you're a new player, you don't know what's coming. If you go last as a new player, you don't know how to react to what someone's done. And granted, this is not a pick up and play Euro. It's heavy, it's thinky. I got nothing against heavy, thinky Euros, but I'd like a theme. I would like, less punching in the face. Some punching in the face is fine, but not as hard, not with knuckle dusters. And certainly, if you're going to make this level 34 on Board Game Geek, at least give me some. At least show me that you had some consideration of art direction. I don't know, because Radio Creations just don't know how to make a good-looking game.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't like the cover either. It's too dark. It's too one note. Yeah, it's just not great.
All right. Right. Well, we're ready to make a lot of enemies as we get onto the 2s.
Oh, and I have to go first all the time. I know. I'm just kidding.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
I know. It's not going to matter.
Trust me. I'm about to be eviscerated. But carry on.
People are predicting yours. I noticed in the chat they're predicting Brass, Concordia. I guess we're going to have to see. I'm kind of curious too.
Concordia is not a potential option because we're starting from 2018 and going forward. So it's too old.
Technically, you could have put Concordia Venus, but I think that's an expansion, not a standalone game. Let's see here. My number 2. I've heard clamoring for it. Here's the thing. With these games, we might make enemies, but we certainly might make friends as well, because there's people that are going to agree with us. This is from a very unknown publisher named Cephalofair. This is currently number 7, released in 2020. It is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. People on my channel already know how much I loathe Gloomhaven. I think Gloomhaven is the most overrated game of all time. If I were to do a list where that wasn't constricted by the time, this game should not be number 1, and I do not know how Isaac pulled it off. Except that he gave people, he gave people a big box of stuff. It's got that cool fantasy theme. Listen, there is no one that was more excited about Gloomhaven than me. Now, I say that tongue in cheek, of course. I told you how we got started in the hobby. Descent Journeys in the Dark 2nd edition. We have Sword and Sorcery. We have some of these dungeon crawlers. Now there's so many of them now, it's oversaturated.
Just a bit,
yeah. Gloomhaven promised, 95 hours, 95 different missions, 100, I don't know, 50, 100 hours of gameplay. And I got sucked into that. And I remember looking for this game. They came out with a reprint. I think we have one of the, I forget how many reprints in we are, but we ended up getting it. We ended up getting an insert for it and the whole thing. We played this in 2020. That's main Gloomhaven. I tried to sit down. This was when it first came out. I remember being at the game store and we sat down and I played some of Jaws of the Lion. And it was exactly as you would expect it to be. It is a smaller version of the same game. There might be different characters, there's a little bit of a different story, but it is the mass market version of a game that I already do not like, that I think is massively overrated. And I don't like trial and error gameplay. I don't, especially when it doesn't make sense. So I play a scenario and I'm in a story. This is a campaign and I'm unlocking characters and there's all this cool legacy stuff to Gloomhaven. But if I play a mission and we lose, you can't progress. There's no branching path.
Yeah.
There is so here's the thing. I have to do it over again. However, I gain all the XP from the failed attempt. Does that make? Now, I understand that most people might be saying and objecting and saying, well, this is not technically a campaign game. It's a Euro style, more of a combat puzzle game. Totally understand that. I like Too Many Bones too.
That's my problem. This is marketed like, oh yeah, great dungeon crawl game, and that is not. It's a Euro game with a dungeon theme pasted on it, because nobody, even the diehard fans of Gloomhaven, don't bug up the story and say like, oh, it's a great narrative. Well, then if it's not got a decent narrative, it fails as an adventure game. You know, Descent, was it Legends in the Dark or whatever, the Descent 3.0 had the same problem. It's like, you can give me whatever you like in terms of these components and that. Your story sucks, not interested. This one's got a bad story, but I'm with you. Yeah, we're actually agreeing wholeheartedly on the choice now.
Nice. I love it. Because higher into the list, we need to be a little bit more like the butter has to now come back to help us out. Because
what is it with you and butter? Just
you mentioned it. You said that I was trying to butter you up, so now I'm kind of leaning into it. So no, but
not enough crumpets in America. I don't know.
Yeah, I love butter. Well, I do love butter, like real butter, not the fake stuff, not margarine and not the other fake stuff. I like real butter, like cream and salt. Like that's it. That's what I like. Anyway, what are we talking about?
We're talking about an overrated game.
Yeah, and the only reason that I had to pick this one is I did play it. Okay, so it's valid, but I will not be one of the backers and will not be one of the recipients of Frosthaven. I completely skipped it because I couldn't do it, and I have no interest in Frosthaven. It looks to me like the same game, except you can upgrade your town. And I think Gloomhaven is trying too hard to be a video game. And I know that that's kind of a big deal right now. There's a lot of video games coming out. Elden Ring, not interested because it's Steam forged and I'm not a fan because they botched Horizon Zero Dawn and many other games that I would have loved to have played in a board game format. I'm not interested in all these video games becoming board games. And I think Gloomhaven is trying to do that as a new IP. And it failed for me. It failed. It pulled me out of the immersion. I did not care anymore what character I was playing because the story didn't matter to me. And I am a themer kind of gamer. I do like heroes, but I do like theme as well. So
similar. And
yeah,
it too much of the Euro understanding. I mean, the fact that you don't progress is a painful enough anyway. I mean, have some experience for failing, but for crying out loud, in a video game, it's fine if you have to restart the mission because that's normal for a video game. I don't expect in a board game to have to keep grinding the same mission. I mean, people got sick and tired of time stories for the same reason that rinse and repeating when you died got tedious after a while. As much as I loved time stories at first, and then once it started getting closer to drink more Ovaltine, it was like, okay, bad. But this one,
and I don't like time stories either. I don't like time stories either. It's one of my least favorite games of all time is time stories. I hated every minute of it because it was just that go through, try to discover stuff. Okay, we messed up, so now we have to go back in, try to apply what we learned. Oh, we messed up again now, so we have to remember the first thing. So and then when we got to the end of it, guess what? It was so fiendishly difficult and we had nothing that we needed because we you can't carry anything with you through time to reset. Oh, games like that drive me absolutely bonkers. And unfortunately, that's Gloomhaven's major sin with me is the rinse and repeat or the fail and try again and fail and try again, but you're still gaining XP and buying cards. And it just felt
it's not that it's badly designed in the sense because
it's not,
because I think I give both of them 4s. They're below average now, but it's just number 1 and now number 7 for the same game, just condensed down again. This whole 2 versions on the same thing again. But I mean, I don't like flipping cards off a deck for my thing.
Yeah.
Just give me a die. Oathsworn gives you the choice of cards because it wants to be, oh, look, we're like Gloomhaven, you know, but also gives you dice and says, pick one of the two. Well, I burn the cards and I use dice because, yes, they're more swingy, but they're more epic. They're more realistic. You don't have to game, oh, I've drawn so many of these +1s and 0s, therefore I think the probability of me hitting now is good. Just chuck a die.
Yeah.
And the idea that, because Oathsworn has a similar problem with this, and this one exasperated it first, was this idea, I forget what order it happens in because it's been ages since I played it, but something about the enemies, you know what they're going to do before you act. That's part of Gloomhaven, isn't it? Yeah. How?
Yeah.
In what adventure game do you know what the enemy is going to do? It should react based on what you do, not the other way round. And it should be a case of, right, here's a big dragon. I'm going to go smack it one. I do so. What's it going to do next? Oh, damn it. Tail swipe me or whatever. I didn't see that coming. Great. It's not that I should be able to look at 3 skeletons in front of me, or in this case, 3 humans, because I swear the only thing you attack in this game is humans. And then go, right, all right, that human's going to go to that space. That human's going to go in this one. They're in a 2-2-4 formation. It sounds like I'm describing a football match. It's there's too much Euro-iness in a game that tried to big itself up on that. And people will defend this one also to say, okay, what about all the content that's in this game? Not going to deny that there's a ton of content in this game and credit where it's due. But there's such a thing as too much. Most people never see all this content because there's too much to play. There's no point me paying this money for content that I'm never going to see.
Right. I'm in the same boat. And I understand Jaws of the Lion is a smaller package and it's more digestible. And for that, I commend it. I think it's a good idea. I think that was smart. But they didn't. All it was a cash grab. They wanted to grab the casuals. That's all it was. They wanted to grab the casual game. Oh, it's Gloomhaven, but it's a smaller package. Yeah, they didn't change anything about the core gameplay. They didn't put anything new in it. It was just
And you remember Founders of Gloomhaven? I rated that one a 2. That is horrible. That game. And the only reason people were excited about it at first was because it had Gloomhaven in the title, and he knew it.
Yep.
The designer knew that. All he has to do is put that name in the title, and people gun for it. And what do you get? One of the most boring, blandest Euros I've ever played. But nothing to do with Gloomhaven. But I make the prediction. We're going to have Gloomhaven at number 2, Frosthaven at number 1, and I'm going to go on a massive rant when it happens. I can see it happening now. So,
absolutely.
Oh, well. Now, as much as you've done me a favor and hit on that, because I didn't put Jaws of the Lion on my list, mainly because I excluded Gloomhaven for being too old, and it's too similar that I sort of excluded it, and I wanted to scratch off that one because I'd already mentioned Gloomhaven enough times, although I might be breaking that rule at some point. But this one, oh boy. Guys, somebody earlier on mentioned that I was going to get 1 million downvotes if I mentioned this game. You know what? I'm happy enough with 2 million dislikes, because not only am I going to put this game as my number 2, but I'm also going to say that Lost Ruins of Arnak is better than this game. Dune Imperium, sorry.
Oh.
What is this game rated on Board Game Geek right now? 12? 14. 14? Are you kidding me? 14. No. I mean, let's gloss over the fact that it's ugly as sin, all right? Okay, fine. The aesthetics are bad. Even diehard fans have to admit this. But when I rated this game originally, I reviewed it. This is a bit like Paladins of the West Kingdom, okay? I liked it more when I first played it. And I love the chat. The chat is erupting like crazy with this one.
It's erupting.
I love it. But the thing is, I liked it. It just squeezed an 8 when I first reviewed it after a few plays. And most of them were solo. The kinks in the armor of a paladin showed themselves relatively soon. These ones showed themselves very quickly. And even though I still think it's above average, there's a difference between above average and 14th best game ever. Yeah. And this one has shown a lot of problems to me. Firstly, I'm a big deck building fan. But if you put it in a game as a side thing, you gotta do it right. This one doesn't do it right. I like the mechanic where some of the cards you hold back and they're useful in the combat phase. That's cool. Mm-hmm. If only half the cards in the deck were worth the cardboard they were printed on. Right. Because half of that deck is garbage. When do you ever buy a card that costs 3 or less in this game? You don't, because they all suck. You wait until you get a 4, 5, or 6 card. So the display clogs up with a ton of cards that nobody wants to buy. And there's no rule to refresh the display quick enough. You've only got 10 victory points to go for, which is a positive. I like the fact that it's quite tight. But then that means you don't get enough time to actually tweak your deck. There are very few cards in the game that let you trash cards. There's only one space on the game that lets you do it. And it costs a fortune to go and do it. And you can't even do it that often because you need to go there with certain cards.
Yep.
So the deck building bit of this doesn't work. So what are you left with? A reasonable worker placement game. Nothing fantastic, but a reasonable worker placement. But then you have the combat phase, which is pretty much 90% of the time people win by. You can potentially get a lot of spice, you can potentially do well on the factions, but everybody is doing well on the factions. That's just a given in the game. Most of the games are won because of this combat phase. And that's the least interesting part of the game for me. I want the deck building, and I want the worker placement. I don't care about this cube fight you have afterwards.
Right.
And then with that being said, the intrigue cards that you've got down there, firstly, they're incredibly swingy. They basically just change up entire combats without you knowing they're there. But then there's also, in that entire deck of cards, 3 that are based on endgame scoring. Like, if you have so many of this, you get an extra 1 or 2 points. You only have to get 10 in this game. So having 3 cards in a deck of, 70 or so, that can give you 2 extra points for doing not a huge amount of effort, is... I've won games with that. It's like, oh, we're close. It's like 10, 8 points in that. Oh, by the way, I've got this card I got randomly. Here you go, 2 points.
Yeah.
And I like this more as a solo game. It was... fine. I liked it more when I played it, but the fact that those cards just ended up half being garbage just did not work for me. The kinks showed themselves. I've not played with the expansions. Will that improve it? I don't know, but
let me add some commentary to this, because I do not disagree with you on this one. I do own it. I do like it.
Right,
and
get in now.
I also own Arnak. I know. So I guess I disagree with you slightly, but we invested in the deluxe upgrades, and when we first played it, we loved it. We really did. But you start to see the cracks in games the more you play it. It's beyond the first impressions. One thing I will say is that Arnak is great, but I knew right away with Arnak. It took maybe 1 or 2, probably 2 or 3 plays tops, where I said, okay, I like the deck building. It's simple. I like that the row resets and that stick moves, and then you end up with more of the what are they called? Not prophecy cards. Anyway, the blue cards and less of the items toward the end of the game. And so I love that. I do like the research track, although a lot of the times that is probably 90% of the time that's how people are winning. But I knew right away that the game needed an expansion. It was one of the things I said in the review. This game needs something else to differentiate it, because it's going to get samey.
Sorry.
It gets samey. Arnak. It gets samey. And it needed that expansion. The expedition leaders, it needed the variable player powers, and it made the game better. Great. So Dune Imperium. Rise of Ix fixes some of that broken stuff, and now there's another expansion coming out that I think is supposed to fix a couple other things. So I think you're right on. The base game had problems flat out. Some of the early game spots that are really powerful really just kind of lose their luster as you play, because you don't need it anymore, and now that's a dead spot. It's a dead zone. And so that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel balanced. It just feels weird. Like, oh, this spot's great if it's early game, but then later on, when you don't need it, then I understand you're focusing your strategy, so maybe that's not as huge of a negative, but it seemed like Dune Imperium is getting expansions to fix some of the broken things versus getting expansions to really build on what's there. I do like the game. I don't think I have the disdain for it that you do, but I do understand the combat like it does. It boils down to combat. Almost 9 out of 10 games, it's a combat race.
It's not even so much disdain. I still rate it a 6.
Overrated.
Above
14.
Average is still good, but it's that thing of everybody's talking about this. I've got several people at my club who play this a lot. They've got the expansion, and they enjoyed it more than I did when I showed it to them at first. They've bought it since. I've gone, yeah, hang on a minute. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, how did I not see this before? And then got rid of it. I will still like to try it with the first expansion. I would certainly prefer to try it with both included, because I have looked at both expansions. It's like, that sounds like it does fix that problem. That sounds like it does fix that problem. If that's the case, then great. It's not going to make me want to buy them all, though, because I don't want to pay over $150 to get 2 expansions for a game that shouldn't need fixing to begin with.
I agree.
Because sometimes an expansion does fix a game. I mean, I'm not going to deny Civilization: A New Dawn. I love that game, but the expansion did fix a couple of things with it and made it really good. So I'm not going to deny it doesn't happen with some of my favorite games, although I liked Arnak. Arnak was a 10 out of 10 for me before the expansion. It just basically became 11 out of 10 at that point. But but this one, just
do you know what game is better than both of these? Endless Winter.
Similar to both?
No, which game is better than both of these? Arnak and Dune Imperium is Endless Winter. But we're not going to get into that because it'll take too long.
I have to say, I literally just finished a solo game of Endless Winter before the stream because I was trying to get the solo mode played. I do like Endless Winter, but
it's good. And I love how tight it is. It's tight. It's tight. And we could talk about that another time, maybe another video. But like I think a good video would be comparing Dune to Arnak to Endless Winter and just hashing that out, because I think that's a great discussion. Because
I don't think they're similar enough games, though. I struggle to compare Dune to Arnak a lot of the time, but Endless Winter just feels a bit too different.
Well, it has the worker placement, deck building. It's that hybrid of those two main mechanisms. But you're right. Endless Winter does broaden it. But what's funny is that with Endless Winter broadening out like to the megalith board and the territory, the area control, the majority, like it's neat but yet at the same time, there's only 4 worker placement spots. That's it. It's just your 4 columns, or 5 if you have the one expansion, but 4 spots. And then your deck building, there's only 5 rows of cards. Like that's it. And your culture cards, I know those are the variability, but and picking those things always feels tense. It always feels like, am I making the right call? That's just my opinion. So
it's got a lot of good stuff in it so far. I'm not sure I would call it tight, but like I say, I've got to review it at some point, so I'll leave that for another day.
I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, and we have to review it too. I played it solo now 2 or 3 times, and we've played it a few times at multiplayer, and it just the more I play it, the more I like it. It's very, very good. But anyway, we're here to talk about Dune Imperium. I do. Yeah,
I feel like the chat's already had its fill of
they have the
Dune Imperium. Like I say, the game is fine, but 14, come on. Show me it with the 2 expansions and show me what the game could have been. Yeah, I'm fine to try it, but I'm not spending all the money to get it myself and find out. I'll just wait for one of my fan friends to grab it themselves, which they no doubt will, bring it to the Portsmouth Club, and then be like, right, I'll sit down, show me. Yep. Prove yourself.
Prove me wrong. Yeah, prove yourself. Right. Yep.
They'll probably fail, but you never know.
All right.
Can you do better than Gloomhaven, of all things? Yeah.
Absolutely can. I absolutely can. This one is ranked higher than Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion.
I must admit, most of the games in the top 10 I would consider to be overrated. To as I said, there is one in particular though that you better not be mentioning. No, don't you dare! You love that game. You take it back. No, you're trolling me, because it wouldn't be that you wouldn't be holding it if you considered it overrated.
I am not. No, it is my number 1. I can show you my list.
Oh, what a shame! We just lost Branden. Oh, never mind.
Listen,
dare you, sir?
I've said how many times that I play these games, and I didn't show you Cascadia, so you don't really know if I have it in my collection. I do have Ark Nova. We do like it. We have played it. However, number 4 in less than a year. Now, this is considered a 2021 release, I believe, because it came out with Fureland, but now Capstone brought it over. But this came out in 2022 in the US, I'm pretty sure. And it immediately, it seemed like, launched, and I don't think it's done. I honestly do not think that number 4 is done. I think that Ark Nova, I don't know if it'll ever overtake Gloomhaven. I just don't know if
I will be drinking that day if it overtakes Gloomhaven.
Right. I guess it could. I mean, there's always the possibility of it, but Ark Nova, as good of a game as it is, I feel like it is the patron saint of borrowed stuff. Now, I know I'm going to get criticism for that comment because what game right now doesn't borrow something from somewhere? It's very difficult to innovate in this space. And I
Very
understand
difficult.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does
it
borrow a
is
few things.
difficult.
Although one
Yeah.
thing that's, I would disagree on one aspect, but I'll leave you to carry on.
Oh, that's all right. I just think that with the crisscross track, I love a crisscross track. However, it's been done. Rajas of the Ganges, also one of my favorite games of all time, has the crisscross track. It was so unique and so great. And how you balance each thing, I love that it's in Ark Nova. I really do. That's a great mechanism to borrow because you're dealing with conservation, but also tickets. And so I like that idea of building up the zoo. However, every time we play this game, it's always the same thing. There's only a few spots in fact, there's only 4 spots in the whole game to get upgrades. I'm thinking because there's 5 upgrades, but you can only ever have 4 on your board. I forget that
Sometimes
whole
only
thing.
3. Yeah.
Sometimes only 3. That's right, because based on what you choose right at the beginning of that conservation track, it's just it seems to play out at least part of the game very similar. The tile-laying puzzle is not really much of a puzzle. Everyone's going to place stuff where it's most advantageous for them. And if you fill up your whole board, I think it's only 7 victory points. And trying to fill up your whole board is a nightmare.
I've triggered the end game multiple times with those 7 points. Don't knock them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, people don't see it coming.
Yeah, they don't see it coming. Right. I haven't seen very many people do that, to be quite honest. I did it one game and it had made no difference. My biggest problem with this game is not the similarity of the mechanisms. You could compare this to Terraforming Mars. You can compare it to any engine building game. And I do think that there's some neat interaction with the cards, having the right continents. But all that is this is the direction I'm going to go. These are the cards that I've been dealt. These are the ones that are out there on the row. So this is what I'm going to try to do. It just, my problem is when you finish a game and you have negative victory points, yikes. It makes you feel like the entire game you've done nothing. And I have seen more people score negative victory points at the end of this game than positive. I got to be honest. And usually the person that scores positive is so far ahead that I've never seen a tight game of Ark Nova. Now, maybe you have, and again, this is completely subjective.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I've had occasional times where usually the top 2 players can be tight, but even then, not as often. And yeah, there will certainly be a disparity. So that's not a, not a, what's the word? That's not a falsehood. That's pretty true.
Yeah, and so I like the game. We own it. I play it anytime. I play it at 2. We've played it with multiplayers. It's fantastic. I haven't tried it. Does it play solo? If it does, I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Solo. Yeah, I figured it would. But I really think that it's a triumph of where we're at in board gaming in that sense. I just do not think that it should have rocketed up the list that fast to be number 4 of all time. Given, and maybe it's the zoo theme, I don't know. But for example, I'm looking at Zoo Tycoon on crowdfunding. I think it's still crowdfunding right now.
Yeah.
Let me move this off here so you don't. I need to make sure. It's like getting the onion out of the kitchen. I don't want you to keep crying, so I'm just going to move it off screen so you don't have to look at it. The Zoo Tycoon looks far more engaging for a zoo theme than this does. This is just, you're trying to just gain random animals or trying to, hire specialists and stuff that are just sort of dealt to you. It just feels very, 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 very random in that sense. And if you don't have the right symbols, then you just can't do the thing. And
do you like Terraforming Mars?
I do, but I don't have the love for Terraforming Mars that a lot of people that might be watching this do, or even you do. I've played Terraforming Mars. I would rather play this than Terraforming Mars. Because
that one I would argue is more random.
It is. I agree. But there also is a draft at the beginning of the rounds. And so there's some control over the cards that you do choose, that you pay for to then be able to put down in your tableau. Ark Nova,
assuming that they're useful in the first place, but yeah.
Right. Oh, of course. Absolutely. And the same could be said with the cards in your hand in Ark Nova, but then also the ones out here in the market, the row. But the bottom line is, is if none of those cards are working for you, if you don't get the right synergies, it'll be a stinker for you. At least with Terraforming Mars, it's so long of a game that it seems like you can build some kind of an engine, right? Arc Nova is long, and I'm curious to hear how you process the length of it. I don't think it plays quick.
It's not quick now. I mean,
Yeah.
With this one, I get it's long with 4,
Yeah.
and I'd rather play it with 3, 2, or I played this solo so many times it's kind of ridiculous. But I still enjoy a 4-player game of it because I'm that invested in what it is mechanically. But then let's say the animal theme is definitely a thing for me.
Yeah.
This one thing that this has, I mean, certainly, yeah, it rocketed to number 4 very quick. I love the fact it's at number 4. I would love it to overtake Gloomhaven and other games, but like I say, it was a bit fast. So fair enough, it could have taken a little bit longer to get that far. But this one I'm invested in. The whole laying of the tiles is not meant to be a puzzle. I mean, that's building your map and trying to get everything, like, am I going for these bonuses or what my map does? I love this card action row system. I mean, only...
I do.
Because
like
yes,
that.
it is borrowing from other games, but bear this in mind, only Rajas the Ganges has really done the crisscross thing, and only Civ of the New Dawn has done that action row system.
Yep.
So yes, it's borrowed from the two of them, but these are two mechanics, particularly that action row, that need to be in more games.
I agree.
Like crazy.
Yeah, that action row is really good. Yeah.
I never find I'm just necessarily going for random animals. Occasionally you might pick up an animal, it's like, okay, icon-wise this works. But somebody said it earlier on, and there's been so many comments I can't keep up with it, but basically, one thing I love about this compared to a lot of other Euros is that some Euros are strategic to the point where you got to say, this is what I'm doing, start, finish. This game is one that you have to pivot. You're starting 4 cards. I tell everybody, look, you've got 4 cards. Have a short-term goal, but realize it's short-term. You've got to then decide what you're doing next based on what's going on. And I love that tactical nature of, right, this is my short-term goal. I do this, this, and this. I've achieved it. Right, next short-term goal, this, right, this, and this, achieved it. Right, next one. And the last game I played at GridCon, those green projects at the start, they were like birds, reptiles, and 2 other countries.
Yeah.
I didn't go for any of them at the start because somebody else was doing birds, somebody else was doing reptiles, and I thought, well, all right, I better do my own thing then, along with my objective. Okay, I'll carry on. Doing a little bit of synergy. Then I started grabbing a couple of monkey cards. I was like, all right, fine, I'm going to focus on that. Found a few more, or tried to focus on that. Still won the game, and I didn't do any of the base conservation projects. I did my own ones that I drafted.
Your own
or
ones,
snapped,
yeah.
Which people sort of go, well, it's a lot of cards, but then people underestimate snapping. They go, I want more cards. No, you want the one card that you really need. Snap it if you can. And if you flip your card, then, yeah, snapping's an easy thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Arno variant, which someone's mentioned, that's the main way I play it solo, but I still like the normal solo mode in this. It's just, it's kind of odd. Yes, aesthetically, I wish like that map was a bit better and stuff like that, but this ticks so many boxes.
Yeah.
I love the cards. I think the cards are great. Photographs, good quality photographs of animals is much better than artwork that could have been bad. Do I wish the boards looked a bit better? Yeah. But graphic design is easy to understand in this, despite the fact that there is quite a lot on those cards. I've got teaching this game down to a T by now, but then that's possibly because I've done it so often.
Right.
But choosing which cards to flip, the asymmetric maps, this Aquarius expansion that's coming out, I cannot wait for that. Water creatures and the the fact that you can have asymmetric action cards now, that it ticks every box I want from a heavy thematic Euro, with a lot of options, a lot of different paths, but the rules are not stupidly complex. There's a fair amount of them, but nothing felt too fiddly. Or maybe it was just because I got used to Terraforming Mars. I don't know, but
I've demoed this at game stores for people, and it's not difficult to really get going and teach it. It's really not. That part is good, and it does have a lot going for it. I think it is a highly rated game, but again, my whole thing as far as the overratedness of it was just give it a chance. Like, and that's the other thing, when it rockets that high onto the like number 4 like that, it's very difficult as a content creator to actually bring about any kind of criticism, because you're immediately up against a wall of fans. And that can be very
That
difficult.
never stops me, mate.
Well, that is true. No, and I don't think it would stop me either. Clearly not, because here it is. Here we are. And I know it doesn't stop you, which is great. But for some people, it can, and it can skew things a little bit. People might be less willing to be like, oh, to criticize something when it's like, well, I must be in the minority because it shot up to number 4. Clearly, I'm wrong. Well, not really. It's. I think a game needs to earn it, but I don't know exactly what that would look like or what that means. I think Ark Nova is a great game. I would never think that this would have gotten to number 4 that fast.
It got there fast. I don't deny that. But minority, whatever. I mean, somebody is going to dislike a game, by all means say it. I disagree that this is an intro game for heavy board games. Trust me, there are some people I'm not putting this game in front of because I know they won't get it or they freeze up. And I've already experienced some of those people. But I will happily teach. I mean, this is one of those games where it's now a meme with me and my friends because they'll see me play it at a convention. They go, oh yeah, it's not a convention unless you've got Ark Nova app. Yep, true. Like first game I'll play. And then I'll see somebody else play it later on. I'll go, and jump into that one. And then I'll be like, oh, right, we need a game to play, guys. I got Ark Nova in the bag. It's a game that I will just play. I would happily play it for 3 hours and then play it for another 3 hours afterwards. It's wow. The time is long, but for some reason, because I'm so invested, the turns are. I've got a lot to plan ahead, but my turn doesn't feel like it's taking forever. It's like I've done this card, resolve action, done. And if you play it with people who know what they're doing, it's very. Zippy like
and
that.
isn't this an interesting commentary on the comparison between your view of time? And this is what I was saying earlier, and some folks had said, I know some might disagree, but some agreed to how relative time is. Where Wonderland's War, 2.5 hours, you want like to just bang your head against the wall, but yet with Ark Nova, you'll sit for 3 hours and then play another game back to back, 3 hours, 6 hours of Ark Nova, and never skip a beat, which is exactly why I was saying that when it comes to time in games, if I'm invested in the game, I couldn't care less about how much time that game takes. And I mean that. If Twilight Imperium 4, and I've never played it yet, I'd like to. If that game really sang with me, if it clicked with me, do you think for 1 second I would hesitate to spend my entire Saturday every now and then when I got the chance to play that game? If it really had me invested and we were playing with a good group of people and the experience was there, I couldn't care less how long a game goes. I honestly believe that.
It definitely can be argued in that sense because I played New Angeles at the last convention, and that's a 3-hour negotiation game, but there is no downtime in it whatsoever. I mean, downtime's a big factor. If I feel like I'm just sitting around waiting, like Perseverance, I wasn't a massive fan of the Mind Clash one, and I like a lot of their other stuff. But you have like 12 actions in that game, and it's 3 to 4 hours. You're sitting there with so much downtime, it's ridiculous. You feel that time length. Ark Nova, I do admit, is quite long. I wish it was half an hour shorter. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, but it's not perfect because no game ever is. If you could shave 30 minutes off it, I'd be more than happy. One advantage is that I do play it solo a lot, in which case I haven't got that problem. But there have been 4-player games of this where I've played it and gone, oh god, I've got the AP player now. This is going to be hard. It does happen. Theme's a big factor as well. Also, I mean, with Wonderland's War, I can tweak my bag to an extent, but at the end of the day, I'm still pulling out the chips and hoping for the best in a sense.
That's true.
Here, yes, I am drawing from a deck, but most of the time I will snap or draw from reputation range, so I know 75% of the time I know what cards I'm drawing. And usually if I do draw, say, 3 cards, 4 cards, discard 1, I'm getting something out of it. Rarely have I ever drawn 4 cards and they're all complete garbage.
That's true.
So
it's true. I haven't either. I've never drawn a garbage hand. I have to agree with you on that one. I agree. I think generally speaking, there's something that pops up that's going to have that at least something on it that you're going for in your engine. Yeah.
And it's also weird, but as I say, I'm sad that you put it on
I didn't mean
list,
to stomp on your 10 out of 10. I honestly didn't. That was not a troll. That's why I said my number
one of my top 10 games. But it's like I say, there's some valid points there. It's shot up quick. It is long. There is stuff that can be said like, hang on a minute, So the fact if I saw a bunch of overrated lists and Ark Nova didn't feature on any of them, that's going to be that. And frankly, I mean, you picked the number 4 game on Board Game Geek and like the number 1/7. So they're going to be overrated for a while. Well, I can beat your 4. because
Oh
I can go,
no.
because I
Is
can
it?
go, because I can go
Oh, it
too.
is. You're doing
This
it.
this kind of breaks one of my rules. However, the fact that everybody out there is so gung-ho to defend that this game is so different from the 2013 original, which it is not, I don't care. This is overrated as oh get out. You could unsub whatever. Brass Birmingham is so overrated. Two, a map pack. This is the equivalent of a Ticket to Ride map pack for Brass, and this is rated the second best game ever. Brass with beer. That's all it is. You
Oh.
change the location and put beer in it. It's still Brass. If you like Lancashire, you'll like Birmingham. If you like Birmingham, you'll like Lancashire. You cannot hate one and not the other. They're too similar. Now, it looks gorgeous. I mean, credit to Roxy Games. You've taken one of the most boring themes in board gaming, the old Industrial Revolution, because let's face it, like with Furnace, there is nothing interesting about coal and iron mining, but you made this look pretty for that sort of setting. It's like, fair play. Gotta give you a thumbs up for that.
Yeah.
But the problem is the aesthetics are the best thing about this game. But why is this too? I played it and I gave it a bit more respect at first, but that respect quickly died out, and I just find, again, this feels very samey when I've played it. It's very mean. A lot of the times you can't do anything about the fact that it's mean. It's like, somebody's going to build in my way and I really should stop them doing that. If only I had a card that let me do it. Well, I don't. Woe is me. You know, I don't like the card system in this game. It restricts you too much in what you can do. And because it's so critical where you build and do stuff in this game, one mistake pseudo knocks you out of the game. Again, this is another one of those games where you basically, if you're on the back foot, you're going to lose. You cannot catch up. Rich get richer.
It is difficult to catch up unless the person in the lead really messes up, and they can. Taking loans in the game is risky, but a lot of the times we've seen that taking the loan doesn't really hurt players that much because what they're able to do is better. I do agree about
the loan should hurt.
It should hurt. Yeah, it should hurt. And I think it can late game for sure. But yeah, this one, I don't. Yeah, number 2, I would agree that it's overrated. But I like this one a little. It sounds like a little bit more than you do for sure. I really
that's not difficult. Yeah,
yeah, I really like the bidding. Like whoever spends the most money, like that affects turn order. And so if you hold on to your money, kind of bide your time. I do agree with the card play. We found several times where the cards really kind of hose us, but fortunately, there are those.
You can get wild cards.
Yeah, they have the wild cards.
Again, you have to draw them, and if you decide to do that, I think there's like
it's an action.
What's it? Yeah, I think there's like if you do 2 cards or something, like you can do what you like or whatever.
You have to get rid of 3 cards, and you get 1 of each of the wild cards. Yeah,
but that is a debilitating thing to do. If you're forced to do that to do a critical action, and someone else doesn't have to do that, then you have to do it. And before you say I'm bad at Brass, Mr. Lotus, I've actually won this game a few times, so no, I'm not terrible at it. But
it's an easy game to be bad at. Yeah.
But this came out and everybody lauded over it. And I don't remember the original Brass getting this much hype, but Roxy made it look pretty. And I do think it, for what, I mean, it's a boring, dull theme. It's Industrial Revolution. You can only do so much to it, but the artwork's gorgeous. I got to give the artist credit. You know, it fits the part. This kind of reminds me a bit like of what like Frostpunk looks like on the video game. It's got that look.
Yeah.
But this
the player boards are a nightmare. The player boards are a nightmare to set up. I don't like setup in the game. I mean, the rest of the game is easy to set up, but your own player board is
I love the chips. But that's an accessory. But also with these buildings, because there's like, all right, you can pick one of these routes and go with it. Especially with the Brass Birmingham one, I always do beer or one of coal/iron. The ones where other people are getting your stuff and helping you as a result, I win the game by doing that. I've never won with cotton mills. I've never won with this weird thing in the middle. And I've never seen a single person win with these construction crates. I swear they're underpowered. I've never seen anybody win with them. Everyone who's tried has lost. They just don't get you enough for the effort. And like I say, the game is not necessarily hatred. It's the gap between, I think this is below average, and then it's 2. But then everybody was all like, suddenly resurgence for Brass, and everybody was going like, oh, this is so fundamentally different. It's not.
Yeah. See, I never played the original Brass. I know it is certainly ugly looking. I have seen pictures of it. I think that some of the drive for Board Game Geek ratings, I hate to say it, is content creation, because one of the first big reviews that I saw of this one was Shut Up and Sit Down. And of course, they have such a big channel and a big following, and they really did like it, and talked about the beer and stuff, but I had nothing to compare it to. So to be fair, I never played the original Brass, but you know, having that kind of clout, I guess, is helpful with games like this in some ways. And
some games do get artificially hyped up because of them, which is not something I'm a fan of. I mean, they didn't like Scythe, you know, right. So you know, I don't tend to trust their opinion a lot on a lot of games, but this one, I mean, I use that phrase, Ticket to Ride map pack. That's what it feels like, because Ticket to Ride map packs give you another map, a new mechanic, in this case beer, in that case whatever, card system for Africa or something, or Japan, the freight train, different location map, but it's still fundamentally the same game. And yet this gets a separate listing on Board Game Geek and ends up being at the same, it's like the Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion thing, the exact same problem. The same game gets featured twice. Merge them together and make them number 2. I'll still hate the fact it's number 2, but at least it will be more justified at that point.
Right.
But
and there's about to be a third one in the Haven series, but the
Haven one. Yeah, sorry. I thought you meant the Brass. Haven, I thought, don't give me another Brass, please.
Well, there is. I mean, Brass Lancashire, from what I understand, is kind of the reprint of the main base game of Brass. So it is Brass, but they called it Lancashire, right?
They had to just give it a new name, but yeah, it is basically a new name, the base set.
Okay, got it. A new publisher, right? So Birmingham is the map pack to Lancashire then. So it's Brass Lancashire : so you need 2 colons in the name. Brass : Lancashire : Birmingham, the map pack.
And I do agree. The Ticket to Ride map packs get their own separate listings, but they're not in the top 10 of Board Game Geek. And
I agree with that. Yeah,
I like some of the some of the Ticket to Ride map packs I like more than the base Ticket to Ride, but I still acknowledge that it's the same game. It's just a slight tweak. I'd rather that they were all merged. I'd rather that Ticket to Ride was just one entry for all the map packs and Ticket to Ride. Just make it one global entry. That's the game, because you cannot like a map pack for Ticket to Ride and hate the base game. It's not physically possible. And it's like this. You cannot love Brass Birmingham and hate Lancashire. You can't physically do that because the mechanics are the same. But even then, what you are doing in the game isn't that interesting. I'm putting Industrial Revolution tiles down on the board, occasionally building a canal on a railroad. Again, people know it's a meme by now that I can't stand trains. Ticket to Ride has trains. Ticket to Ride could also have taxis, wagons, and buses. It doesn't matter in that game.
Hey,
get your whistle out. You were waiting all the whole session to get that whistle out. But I was.
No, so you don't like trains. Yeah. Now me, when I'm in this game, and we just played it at Dice Tower Retreat, I taught Allie, Lexi played, and I think somebody else sat down to play it. We had 4 players, 3 or 4. I think it might have been 3. But I enjoyed it so much at 3, and I just remembered how much I liked that puzzle, because for me, it's a heads down thing. Yes, it can be mean, but mean in a sense where, here's the thing though, with mean, you don't really block people. I mean, you can, but you always can use somebody else's network to make connections to things. So I do like that interaction with the players, but you are competing. You need to have those links between your color industries and in the locations, and that part is really difficult with, like you said, the randomness of the cards. Totally agree with that. But I do like that heads down puzzle where, okay, I know that iron and coal can be used iron can be used from anywhere on the board, and Lexi has an iron thing out. That iron it's going to score her points. She'll be able to flip the tile, but I can use that iron for something that I need to really get myself up. So there's always.
I wish that was more intuitive, though. It's not intuitive how that system works.
I think the rules are very fiddly. I totally agree with that. This is more fiddly than Arcanova.
It took a long time to get to grips in my first game with how the hell does this linking work again? It's like
100% agree. 100%. The network thing is the hardest thing for me to grasp. However, that said, once I grasp it, it's like, boom, then everything opens up, you know. But I do agree that the learning curve on this one is very steep. So,
but that's
yeah,
the
I
thing
agree.
that
Yeah.
Sergio says, like, you have to use the buildings and the network of other. That is why every game of this I've won is me focusing on coal, iron, or beer. One of those two. Because other people are using me, not the other way around. And that just seems to be like, well, I've built this stuff. That's already getting me VPs or whatever.
That's
Oh,
very
but
true.
you need my stuff. Great.
Yep.
I'll get more wealth then. Yeah, do you want to use
Well,
my
what I
stuff
love
as well?
about-
Fantastic, you know, but if it's the other way around, I'm not earning as much.
Yeah. And I do love that. Like if the market is depleted and I put out a coal factory, well, immediately that coal just gets sucked into the market, which yes, makes it cheaper for my opponents to get it, but it's also allowing me to flip over that tile immediately because I'm able to sell it back to the market. So I do like that part of it. The decision space, I probably would disagree with you a little bit more on that one, of course, but I do like that decision space where the timing of things, but yeah, you're right. Working on coal and iron and beer are huge because when people need it, they come to you. And especially your iron, because they can use iron anywhere on the board. Coal, they have to have a connection to it. Again, it goes into that like, well, you know, what's going on? But yeah, I agree that number 2 is probably, I don't think I would agree that it's just like Ark Nova. It's a great game, but I don't think number 4 is right. Brass Birmingham has gone up, and I don't understand why. It hasn't been going up.
It's been going up and up, but the original Brass never got that much popularity, and I just see everybody has got this on Facebook, Twitter. It's been played at every convention. My mates love it. You know, we're a group of, we like heavy Euro games, and we do gel on some, like, oh yeah, these are really good favorites of ours and that, but this is one of them where it's just like, man, you guys love this and I still don't get it, but you know. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Awesome. What a marathon we just ran.
I know, longest stream ever, but worth it. But we started off with relatively mild ones, and then as we were going up, I probably started a little bit earlier than but yeah, we got in, especially in our top 3, we got into some popular ones.
Yeah, like, we did. Yeah, we did. So thanks everybody on the stream. I know Luke's going to take us out here, but I just appreciate all of you, the interaction, the love, the support. As a small creator, I look up to Luke. I look up to what he's done. And I'm very thankful for all of the fans. I have seen people pop in that are on our channel or in our Discord. I appreciate your support. Thanks for sticking with us, because this was like literally 4 minutes short of 3 hours.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to, unless you need to be anywhere, but
I do not.
But the thing is, I mean, obviously I'll need to get sleep at some point, but looking at my honorable mentions list, I mean, I'm not going to go through every single one in detail, but it was quite hard. I deliberately said 2018 onwards, and yes, I get Brass might have technically busted that rule because I'm saying it's so similar to the original, which is 2013, but the fact that everybody keeps banging on about it being so different, I think if you're going to hold to that argument, then I'm putting it on the list. But what else I had? Let's see, I had Root, but I get why Root is rated highly. I just think I don't like those sort of games where you have to teach 4 separate games every time you teach it. It's like, that's saying. Nemesis, I like it fine, but it is a bit of a big setup. It's fragile, and it is like, what, 12 or 15. It's quite highly rated, but I own it. It's downstairs. It's just one of those games which is either 90 minutes of pure fun or 3 hours of hurry up and finish this game. I crossed off Everdell because I actually quite like Everdell. All right,
I really like Everdell. Yeah,
it's got a bit bloated, I think, beyond belief.
Yes,
but I was happy enough with just the original game, frankly.
Right.
So we have Dwellings of Elder Vale slightly, but the thing is, I used to own it, got rid of it, but I don't hear that many people go on about it. You know, there's a few fans, but I think it's too niche. Carnegie, I like it enough, but it's been highly regarded lately. Main thing with Carnegie is I think it's great solo and 2-player. I don't think it works 3 and 4 because you still only have 20 actions in the game, so you have less control the more players you have. But I get that as a 2.
What game did you just say that was?
Carnegie. Carnegie gives you 20 actions in the game.
Oh, okay.
You do one and everybody follows it. And so but as I say, the game is good. Yeah. But as a 2-player game, it's really good because you get like 10 actions each you're in control of. But in 4 players, you only get 5.
Oh,
So
we
you
own
feel
it.
like
We're
you feel
we
like the
own
game is
game.
kind of
Yeah.
playing you for like 75% of the game, which is
It
my
does.
problem.
It's also a very mean game. When someone can see that you're working toward one of those donations, they can
And
steal it right
blocks
out from
it,
underneath
yes.
you. Massive problem. I don't like that because I had it happen to me. However, I wanted to make sure that you understand that I am from Pittsburgh. And according to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is, we have Carnegie Mellon, and I know I'm already, you already hear the difference. You said Carnegie. I was just listening to
Carnegie. Yeah, somebody's in the chat saying the same thing.
I was, well, here's the thing. I was listening to a podcast. So ironically, I think it might've been Board Game Hot Takes, I think. And they were talking about Carnegie, or it might've been Barrage, Board Game Barrage, but they were talking about that. And they brought it up that the foundation in New York says that both pronunciations are technically correct. Although if you're in America, you're more apt to say Carnegie Carnegie than the other. But if you go to his hometown in Scotland, it is Carnegie. And I remember when I said it, we just did a video like a couple of months ago and I mentioned it. Oh, it was our Dice Tower retreat overview and we played Carnegie and people were like making fun of me because the way I said it. And I said, listen, I'm from Pittsburgh. I know how to say stuff. Okay. And I know how to say Carnegie, but it was funny because people were like, is that really how it's pronounced? Carnegie? And I said, yeah, that's how it's pronounced. But it's funny because I've heard more people say Carnegie since this game came out. And I'm like, Carnegie, that just sounds weird to me.
Well,
But
I can't help it. Being from Britain, we follow the letters. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Brandon's very. What did he say? I'm very what about this?
You're very particular about it, which
I
looks
am.
like
I
true.
know.
But
it's a joke. It's a thing I lean into. Yeah.
Create with 4. I mean, trying and planning to follow everybody. You've got to follow 3 major Euro actions of the game. It's not like you're just following somebody plays a card here. No, these are fundamental things that screw you over.
It is a really weird.
What else there?
Yeah.
Batoku, that was rated too low compared to a lot of the other ones. I do think it's a bit overrated, but I just think it's probably a few niche people. Hadrian's Wall, I liked it enough, but it is highly regarded as a solo game. But the thing is, I would still play it, so I wasn't too wanting to go on that. Beyond the Sun's not regarded that highly, so it wasn't that first. Perseverance, again, not rated that highly. Like some of these are just like, oh, I know a few people who rave about it, but it's like, that's not enough.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't pick Red Rising. We already talked about it. I do not like Red Rising. I think that if you're going to play a game if you're going to play a game with that base mechanism, play Fantasy Realms. It's in a box about this size instead of this thing that is not thematic. I can't. It did not sing. Everyone we played it with just was like, what is this? But it wasn't rated highly enough for me to pick on it again. So I think the folks in our Discord will be happy about that.
Destiny's I almost put down, but the thing is, Destiny's was mainly bigged up by reviewers and the Kickstarter crowd, as opposed to actual people who have played it. So I wasn't too fussed about them. Imperial Steam, I almost put on. I hate that game with a passion, but I know that that's more niche. It's ranked like 1400 or something. And yes, I think the only reason I even considered it is because it recently won Spiel Portugal.
That's what I thought.
And it's just like, it won that award. And I'm like, seriously, Portugal lost faith. But, it's like, yeah. But what about
Scout? Endeavor?
Oh yeah, Scout did not like the fact that got nominated because it's rummy with extra steps. I mean,
yeah, it's cool. It's a neat little game. I've played it a few times. It's fine. It's a pocket game, and you can throw it in your pocket.
I mean,
what do you think?
I know the letter thing is not a literal thing. Right. It's just it's amusing. Like I love it, like getting Americans to say herb, because they don't like H's. It's like
you just say herb, yeah. Unless someone is named Herbert, then you say it. Then you use if you say herb and it's their name, then you pronounce the H. But if you're talking about the plant, the herbs, you leave the H off and say ERBS. I know. Listen,
it's a funny one.
Listen, we have a similar issue of just English in general. English is a very difficult language. Real quick, Endeavor Age of Sail. Have you played it?
Yes, it's okay, but it's another
ranked
Euro.
134th. Now we played it for the first time at Dice Tower Retreat, and I really liked it. But when I looked at the ranking, I almost put it on this list. So you're talking about honorable mentions. I almost put Endeavor Age of Sail because it is neat, but it's really just a track thing again, and just taking actions off your board and moving tokens around. And I was wondering what your thoughts were.
That was all my honorable mentions. I forgot Furnace. That could have been an 11 because I hear too much about that, and I've played it and it's meh. I mean, it's Industrial Revolution again. It's Res Arcana, the Industrial Revolution game. But let's say I forgot about that one. But that was all my ones. Yeah, Endeavor. I've got a friend who really likes it. It's fine. A bit mean, but again, it just felt like another Euro. What else you got?
That was pretty much it. To be honest, there wasn't a lot in there's some that are ranked lower, but there's a lot that I didn't play. I mean, I thought, Undaunted Normandy, I like it. It's a nice little deck building game. 174 though. I mean, I don't know if that means that it's overrated. So it was hard for me to figure out like Detective, a modern crime board game. I did not like that at all. But it's ranked 201. So I don't know. I wasn't sure as far as of these,
BGG rankings, I've never really given much stock to, and by themselves. And like I say, it's not the fact that Brass is number 2 that made it on the list. It's the fact that everybody is talking about it and it's constantly seen. You mentioned a couple that were ranked like 100 and something. Like I mentioned Endeavor Age of Sail. Might be ranked 134. I think my friend's the only time I've ever seen anyone talk about it. And even then, that's not that often. So it's clearly got a few. I mean, the board game system, the BGG ranking system's broken as it is anyway. It only takes a few people to rank it stupidly high and it will get that high. But so just looking at the ranking alone's not enough. I mean, does anybody talk about Pandemic Legacy anymore? As the game was fun, but it's still ranked number 3. Who talks about it anymore? It just seems a little bit like crazy on that. But then there's a few others, War of the Rings 2nd Edition. The game's fine. It's very niche. I mean, it's a 3 to 4 hour 2-player game. Ditto.
We're trying to sell it.
I played it, thought it was fine, but it's the one I'm never going to get to play. Why is it ranked 9? Who the hell is playing it? And I deliberately had to say 2018 onwards, because then it meant I couldn't mention Gaia Project, I couldn't mention Concordia, I couldn't mention Great Western Trail, a bunch of these games that I consider overrated, but I've talked about ad nauseum at this point. So it really was, I had to sort of find a way of getting them out of the top 10.
No, and that was very unique. It was nice to because that's what made the list different. It forced me to think, in a much tighter space. And it was really nice. It was really challenging. However, it did limit my selection only because I haven't played Nemesis. I haven't played Clank Legacy, so I have no idea. Like, I think Clank is a great game, but Legacy is rated 25th of all time. Root, like you said, I played Vast, which is the precursor to Root, but they're not the same game. So I didn't want to put Root on the list, I
mean, Clank was fine, but not amazing. I liked it okay, but this one being 25, who's got it?
Right.
I mean, Tom Vassell has it and loved it, but how many other people have got it and rave about it?
Yeah,
how does it get to 25? I mean, this is the other thing. As much as I don't like some of these games up here, I'd at least accept that they have got like 50,000 ratings.
Sure.
This one's only got 30 by comparison. Arc Nova, again, it's only got 20. I'll give that some credit.
Yeah.
Where was it? 6,000. Barely 7,000 people have rated this game, and yet it's number 25. I'm sorry. I mean, I can sell you a damn sight more copies of Ticket to Ride than I can Clank Legacy, and Ticket to Ride isn't anywhere to be seen in the top 100. I don't get this system.
Yeah. And I haven't played Spirit Island, which I know is your number 1. I haven't played it, and there's been many times where I've really wanted to play it, but I know it's complex. It's cooperative. I don't know if does it play well at 2? I don't know if it does, because it has to play well at 2 for the most part for Lexi and I to really get our maximum enjoyment out of it, even though we do have a game.
It really does play well at 2, but
Yeah.
It is very complex. It is got a steep learning curve. And even I, as much as I love it, will not put this in front of everybody.
Right.
You know, it's you're definitely going to need to do a try before you buy it type.
Yep. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
But it is very much designed really for solo and 2. You know, it is those player counts work. But what else we got? Yeah.
What do you think about Quacks? What do you think about Quacks of Quedlinburg being number 61 of all time?
61.
Quacks.
I like Quacks fine, but yeah, it's not the 61st best game of all time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Mechs versus Minions. I mean, I see this on so many bring and buy sales at the moment. Every bring and buy at every convention, there is at least 2 copies of Mechs versus Minions out. How is it the 62nd best game? And here's the other thing. Kingdom Death Monster. Who even 8,000 people have talked about this. It's somehow number 60, and as far as I can tell, this is a game that is impossible to ever get.
Yeah.
How is this rated at number 60? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, and it's not even one that I'm even interested in. I know it's a boss battler, but it's got that very dark, macabre theme, which, again, I'm not a huge fan of, and that's just personal taste. I get it. But I have no interest in playing this game. Like, less than zero. Yeah.
Second edition, and further up, the first edition. Same game.
Yep.
Stop putting two separate listings. But even some of these games that I love, I'll still question why they're high. I mean, I love Android Netrunner. But that game died a long time ago. It stopped releasing cards.
It did, yeah.
So why is it still there? Don't like Eclipse. Through the Ages. I like Through the Ages, but the app has killed the board game. And again, who's playing the third edition now when the fourth exists? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's number 12 of all time. Number 12.
Clank.
Through the Ages, a new story. 12. And I think the other version is still down there too, isn't it?
In
the top 100?
71 Through the Ages, and the other one's
the new
up.
version is number 12.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the game, but it's long, and I'd just rather play the app. Yeah, it's that good. I like the fact that Fields of Isles in the top 100, although I'm surprised by that. I love this game. Yeah. That's definitely one I think for even before Spirit Island. I think you would.
Yeah.
Although
I've almost pulled the trigger several times on buying that one, and just for some reason because I haven't played it, and I'm hesitating.
You said you don't like sandbox games though.
Yeah.
Although is there a difference between sandbox and point salad for you?
No. Well, yes, there is. Yes.
Because
I like point salad games. Yeah.
Because Fields of Isle is definitely point salad, as it's. I mean, you've got a lot of options, but you still have to be efficient. But at the end of the day, everything gets you points. So it is definitely a point salad.
I like that. I mean, I like Feast for Odin. I mean, I don't know if you get any more point salad-y than that, as far as
you should like you should like Fields of Isle. Tend to play Kanban. Yeah, I do like Kanban.
I like Kanban EV. What about Five Tribes? I mean, we have Five Tribes. It's fine. But 76th of all time?
I think 76
is... What's that?
No, because, I mean, it's got to the point where I think it's a bit bloated for me, but I still own it. I still really like it, but again, playing it with 4 players is just way too long. Anybody with AP needs to get the hell away from this game. I do really like it. It's an 8, but 76 is too high.
We have it at a 7.5. Yeah, we do like it, but, it plays good at 2. I mean, it's fast. It's snappy. It's got a nice little puzzly nature to it, but it just seems like, a very simple game. Well, again, a simple, but it just, I don't know, 76. Like I said, if the date constriction wasn't part of this, Five Tribes may have been on my list. Maybe.
Voyages, do not like Voyages.
Lords of Waterdeep definitely would have been on my list. I think Lords of Waterdeep is way overrated at 84th of all time. I do not care if it was the original worker placement game or whatever they call it. Whatever it did first. It was not fun. It was not good. I did not like it at all.
If you asked me this in 2012, I would have been said, yep, should be in the top 100. However, now it should have, and that's the thing. Games get to this level and it takes forever for them to drop, and some of them just will not drop by the sheer weight of numbers beforehand. Waterdeep needs to drop out of the top 100. It's good, but it's a little dated by now.
Yeah.
Tainted Grail, El Grande. I've still not played El Grande.
I haven't either.
That one.
Yeah.
Beyond the Sun, I don't get why that's in the top 100 at all. I mean, forget the boring aesthetics. I've played it. It's fine. But man, when you get to the level 3 and 4 techs in that game, the powers on them become so unwieldy. It's ridiculous. They just do so many things.
We played it at 2. We played at 2 mostly. It's very difficult to get to tier 4 in a 2-player game. So we haven't really sensed that kind of weirdness that you're describing. It is Spreadsheet, the board game, in that sense. But I love tech tracks and tech trees, and so does Lex. And upgrading your board and all of that. We actually had a nice time with this one. Number 90 though, number 90 of all time.
Tech trees I do like, although somebody mentioned Feast for Odin. I don't think Feast for Odin's in the top 100 anymore.
It's not. No.
Which is interesting considering the amount of hype I see for it. I'm surprised that is not in there. I don't think it should be. I do really like it, but I don't think it should be quite that high. But still, I'm surprised it's not. This needs to go away. I'm sorry, but who plays this anymore?
Which one?
Battlestar Galactica. It's like,
Oh yeah,
it's fine, but man, this should not be 92 anymore.
yeah,
It's,
I
Cthulhu
agree.
Death May Die, again, I mean, if you've paid $200 to get it on Kickstarter when it gets released, then fine, but 93 is going on that. I do not care about Mombasa. Dominion Intrigue, again, just merge it all into one Dominion.
Yeah,
That
it's
should
another
be there.
expansion. Yeah, that's all that is an expansion.
A
Yep.
Feast for Odin is 22. Did I miss it? Oh, yeah, so I did. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what I thought. I thought it was high. Yeah.
I was sort of thinking to myself, I swear I've seen Feast for Odin somewhere, but yeah, it's up there. Oh, God, yeah. Pax Pamir. Come on, that's a pretty niche game to be that high.
Yeah,
Raiders
I'd
of the
like
North
to play
Sea,
that one,
9.
but yeah.
Right, Twilight. Here we go. Twilight Imperium, multiple editions.
Yeah,
Your Lord of the
multiple
Rings,
editions.
Journeys of Middle Earth, hanging on by a thread. Although
Hanging on
I
by a
do need to adjust that one though. I think this is gonna at least drop to a 9 for now. I don't think 10 quite justifies it anymore. Try to. I do update these ratings every now and again. Some better or worse. I mean, that just dropped to a 3. So it's like, yeah, I got no desire to play Marco Polo again. But yeah, I mean, I never get that system. There's a lot of games we can say is overrated, and I got to admit, somebody was saying like, "Oh yeah, let's just carry on for another 3 hours and do our underrated ones." There's plenty enough games I could say that are underrated by far. I mean, as much as we've ranted on a bunch of games on this stream, I could easily do this for 3 hours for underrated games and talk positively about some. It's
I certainly could too.
It's all just flipping on there. But anyway, yeah, 3.25 hours. Now we really do need to wrap this up. So thanks everybody who has, if any of you have chimed in the entire 3.25 hours, you are endurance masters. I cannot believe some of you have managed to do that. And the fact that this has even stayed above 100 people throughout the whole thing is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you.
Clearly, it's this has definitely been worth it. But yeah, thanks for the 3.25 hours, mate.
Yeah, you too, Luke. I mean, it's been a lot of time waiting for this since June of earlier this year, and I've been watching a lot of your stuff, and I've just been excited. I was excited so much for this, so thank you very much for having me on. It's a real. I'm very grateful for it, so thank you.
Well, it won't be the last time because, as I say, just because somebody comes on once doesn't mean it'll be the last. So
yeah,
there's
absolutely. Well, I take that as a compliment.
Or we get Lexi on and have or do the underrated one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think definitely the next time we're on, we got to have Lexi on. She just adds so much fun, and her perspective is actually so solid on that, especially because she likes these heavy games. She really does.
We'll just have to do something like top 5 though, as opposed to
top
10 if there's 3 of us on here.
Absolutely. She doesn't talk as much as I do or you do, so she would definitely be the quieter one on the stream. But she might bring a balance into the two of us, which would be good. No, you're a great guy, man. I appreciate your honesty and everything. So just if anybody, since we're here, if anyone wants to subscribe, just come on over to the channel and just check us out. If you like us, then great. If not, then that's okay too. So we appreciate you being here. So yeah.
Now I say Broken Meeple and AllAboardGamer, get onto both of them. And it's not even necessarily subscribing. Like and share is more important.
Yeah,
comment, like the videos, share it around on media. That's what's driving small creators these days.
Interaction is the key. Interaction is
engagement.
The key. Yeah, and board gamers love interaction, so we like interaction in our games. We can interact with our stuff. We're here. Yeah,
that's why I love the live ones, because the live ones may go on forever, but I get to chat with like thousands of people or something, as a result, just by interacting with the chat. Because a lot of live streams don't do it unless they do shout outs, and it's like, come on,
Yeah,
they add a lot of. They had a lot of interesting debates, a lot of interesting little points get brought up, not to mention quite a few puns and weird jokes every now and again, which I've been laughing at. But yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the chat. It's tough to keep up with, but it was really nice putting those chats up on the window and stuff like that. But that's the key. You have to interact. I mean, we go live every Thursday night. There's just been kind of an impromptu board game discussion, not really a major theme, but just interacting with everyone and just giving them a place to talk and chat and have fun. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Sweet. Well, like I say, we're going to let some of you get on with whatever it is, football, or in my case, sleep, or like I say, wherever you are around the world. It's all good. But thanks again for Branden to come on. And I'll see you on the next live one we do.
Thank you.
So take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.